Hollywood, a place known for its performances, and none were any better than Alexei Zhamnov this past Saturday night when he came up with an award-winning effort. For the first time in his NHL career, Zhamnov scored 5 goals in a game. Yet it was still not enough to help the Jets earn a win and break out of a 10-game winless skid. For Winnipeg, a playoff spot is still within reach as other clubs in the West are going in circles. John Paddock has made a move towards reaching the postseason. As of yet, he has not made any trades or moves except within the organization, as the Jets will have a different look to their front office. Tonight, Winnipeg is at home to play host to the Chicago Blackhawks. Tonight on CKND, the Chicago Blackhawks visit the Jets live from the Winnipeg Arena. Molson Jets Hockey on CKND is brought to you by Molson Special Dry, a world without aftertaste. This morning, John Paddock held a press conference stating he was stepping down as coach to concentrate on his general manager duties. Terry Simpson is elevated to head coach, and his assistant will be Randy Carlyle. Tonight at the Winnipeg Arena, the Jets will try and hawk a win out of Chicago. Good evening and welcome to Molson Jets Hockey on CKND. I'm Gene Principe. Normally this man would not be able to talk to us to start our telecast, but he's here tonight. John Paddock stepping down as coach today, concentrating on your GM duties. How long had you been thinking about doing this?
Just really the last couple of days, because after the road trip when it wasn't real successful, we felt that we had to change something to try and jumpstart the hockey team a little bit.
Is this a short-term decision that will be reevaluated in the summer?
Yeah, the whole thing's going to be reevaluated for sure. Each position probably by myself, and then, certainly our overall performance will be evaluated by Barry.
Gives you a chance to burn up the phone lines. How goes the battle on the trade circuit?
Well, it's difficult to say. We would like to make a deal or two to help our hockey team, but there's certainly no guarantees on that.
We'll find out by Friday as the trading deadline is then up. Here's a look at the Western Conference standings. John, you haven't won in 10 games, but you're far from not being out of a playoff spot.
Well, that's the amazing part of it, and I think that's why we decided we had to try something different this action. It's not to take the responsibility off the players, but whatever we could do, this is a business decision to try and get us back in the hunt.
Thank you, John, and best of luck. Well, let's go upstairs now to a couple of guys we would never trade, even though never's a long time. Here's Kurt Keelback and John Garrett.
Okay, thanks a lot, Gene. You know, John, it's got to have been a very, very trying day for John Paddock and I suppose the entire Jet organization.
A trying day, but something they had to do. The team has not been playing well, and today the general manager's job is so all-inclusive, all the contracts. Terry Simpson's been there before. He's had some good times with the Islanders, some bad times with the Flyers. He's been around this organization. He knows what to expect from the players. And from Randy Carlyle, you get a good, positive attitude. And it was such a pleasure to see the guys having some fun this morning, and a lot of noise in the pregame skate, and that's something they haven't had. And a lot of it was coming from Randy Carlyle.
Yeah, there won't be a whole lot of noise missing when Carlyle's around. He likes to yap, and I'm sure he'll be doing a lot of that.
He's a very positive sort of guy, and I think the way the team has played team defense, they can use Randy Carlyle's input and tighten up on the goals against.
Big trade today of the New York Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens.
The Montreal Canadiens get a French-Canadian potential superstar in Pierre Turgeon. They had to get a center. Vladimir Malkin's a good open ice hitter. Kirk Muller, a worker. Craig Darby, some potential. And Matthew Snyder, good offensive defenseman. A trade that'll help both teams. Something the Jets are looking for, a major shakeup. And with Friday looming, they'll have to do something.
Okay, you've probably been in this situation before. How does the team react on the day the coach replaces himself?
Everybody is trying to impress the new guy. And even though Terry Simpson's been around, everybody wants to impress the new coach, get as much ice time as you can down the stretch, and they want to turn this thing around. They play Chicago 3 more times in the last 15 games and would like to get something started here tonight.
Okay, so the Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks stand by for the opening face-off coming up on CKND Winnipeg TV.
Oh, say does that star-spangled True patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
So the Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks set to hook it up. The Blackhawks, the best road club in the NHL, but both these clubs have been going through some tough times. The Hawks winless at 4, the Jets winless at 10. Eddie Belfour will be in goal for the Blackhawks. He has an 11-4 record on the road, and standing opposite him is Tim Shovelday. These two have been in net the previous 2 occasions, so each is 1-1 against the other team to this point in the season. The referee tonight is Bill McCreary, and the linesman Dan McCourt and Mark Perry.
Chicago 0-1 without Jeremy. Played their first game in Calgary without their superstar, Jeremy Roenick, and lost last night. They should be a tired team. They didn't get in here until 3 o'clock this morning. Look at Randy Carlyle. It looked like he was going to have the big one this morning. I don't think he's been working out an awful lot, just passing pucks in the pregame skate. His face beat red.
Look like now the puck has come down at the Jets on. Back to get it in. Fan Quintana. He dumped to center. Chelly does it go all the way to Chicago territory. Bell sends it to the line. Quintana trying to back in. Chelly ahead for that. Gillum. He puts it into the hot zone, and it is playoffs. Now to center, long shot that goes over top of the Jet net. It's back at the point. Suter's shot. That's knocked away. Going forward is Manson. Tried it ahead for King. It goes by Chelios in onto center ice, and with it now is Domi. Domi's got some room. He lets it go. And Bell for the save. All kinds of room, but Eddie Belfour out to challenge.
Ty Domi with a good job at center. He's taking this pass off the boards around. Gets himself in position. A right-hand shot down the left board. Lots of time. Shot at Belfour, and Belfour down to make the save. Domi has lots of room, lots of time. Right-hand shot. Belfour's well out. No rebound.
So some excitement very early in this hockey game. Only 44 seconds in. Now the puck rolls into the Chicago zone. It's come toward the blue line. Put back in by Shamnov. And the Hawks trying to work out. With it now is Murphy. Takes it over the Jet line. Shot blocked by Mikulchik. Poulin in behind the net for Murphy. Now Poulin checked by Mikulchik, who kicks it into the corner. Nichols goes after it there. Nichols trying to put it in front. Mikulchik gets it up now to Drake. Drake dumps it down into the Chicago zone. Belfour is out of the goal. Smith and Korolev are there, so is Drake. They do a little shoving and play his whistle down.
Some pushing and shoving, and Terry Simpson started his tough line. Some scratches for both teams. A big one, Jeremy Roenick out for the year. Jim Cummins took a 5-minute major, and Daryl Sutter after that game said Cummins might not play for a while. He thought it was one of the most selfish penalties that he's ever seen.
Jamnov wins the draw. It goes back to the point. Mikulchik shot. That's blocked in front. Now Korolev looks in front of Newman and moving in. Pass goes off him and rolls right in on Eddie Belfour, who is down on his knees.
Terry Simpson started his tough line, and he's rotating his lines around with good pressure on the Chicago Blackhawks. And this is a tough position for a coach to come in. 15 games left. You're chasing a playoff spot. You know the players as an assistant coach, and now you have to treat him a little differently as a head coach. Tough transition with only 15 games left.
Here's Zhamnov, cuts it off. Zhamnov moves it into Drake. Drake circles back toward the blue line, gives it to Zhamnov in traffic. It's sent by him, and back to get it is Mikulchik. Gives to Newman. Stopped by Smith. Dumped back in. Mikulchik has it there. Murphy goes after him around now for Korolev. Stopped at the blue line. Here's Nichols. Dumps it toward the goal. Weinrich into Poland. A rolling puck. He couldn't get anything on it. And Newman has it now. Looks rink wide to Korolev. Approached by Weinrich. Ahead now for Zhamnov. Zhamnov trying to work in front. He's hauled down. The puck is sent back by the Hawks. With it is Shans. Gets to the jet line. Dumps it in. Poland and Wilkinson go after it there. Poland points off. Wilkinson tries it for Shans. Shans turns the other way. Works it in deep. Centers it. With time is a Monte shot. Just wide. Here's Shans. Stopped by Daryl Shannon. The only Shannon dressed tonight for the Jets is Daryl. Here's Chelios, a shot. Now Daryl Shannon again takes it behind the net. Tried it around for Tkachuk. Tkachuk sends it rink wide. Wilkinson for Solani. Solani had it go by him all the way down. Belfer way to the goal. Elects to leave it there for Shans. Emerson stays with him. Tkachuk trying to dig it out. Chelios can't get it from Tkachuk. Tkachuk trying to muscle his way in front. Back to the point. And the pass went wide of Shannon. Now it's dumped up and out of play. The Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks scoreless in the first period.
You are about to witness a virtuoso performance by a gifted artist. He has chosen a classic instrument, one that gives him precision control over his art and responds instantly to the touch. Great chefs around the world prefer natural gas ranges and cooktops for precision control and instant on, instant off response. Performance on command. Come home to natural gas.
You know, being the best-selling vehicle in the country, bar none, makes you the target of everyone who thinks they've got a shot. So to stay number one, you've got to be ready to take on all comers. And your Manitoba Ford and Mercury dealers have a limited edition full-size Enforcer package to do just that. Driver's side airbag, rear ABS, 4.9-liter engine, styled steel wheels, and special Enforcer striping, $15,995. Yeah, I thought so. Sorry, guys, there's only room for one number one in these parts.
Bill McCreary, the veteran referee, you know what you get when he referees. He lets a lot go. He doesn't like hitting from behind. Alexei Zhamnov goes around Steve Smith, and Smith gets the hook on Zhamnov, gives him the tug. And no call from Bill McCreary. Steve Smith reached over his shoulder for the tug, but Zhamnov made it look a little worse than it was. And Bill McCreary didn't make the call.
Do you ever think you'd see the day a guy would score 5 goals and his team wouldn't win?
Here we go.
Craig Martin is going to go at it with Tony Horacek. Horacek lands a couple of rights. Martin trying to get in tight. Throw some lefts. Now Martin down to the ice, but he gets back up quickly.
And the linesmen Mark Perry and Dan McCourt both there to break this one up.
Well, Craig Martin hasn't seen much action as a Jet. And when he has, he's made it apparent he knows his role. First shift.
Right from the draw, as soon as the puck hits the ice, Horacek and Martin, away we go. You can't start fighting until the puck's down. Mike Eagles has a look. Horacek and Martin, away they went. About the same size, same reach. Horacek pushed Martin down, but as you said, Kurt, he got back up in a hurry, and that was a pretty even fight.
5H for fighting.
We're going to see more of the Philadelphia Flyer influence now with Terry Simpson.
Terry's a bit of a redneck.
Yes,
I think we'll see a lot more of the dump, chase, and bump kind of hockey. Of course, he was very successful in junior at Prince Albert, went on to the Island, and of course, had some good years there. And then last year, got off to a bit of a good start in Philadelphia. Things began to fall apart, and he was back in Winnipeg.
Had some goaltending problems in Philadelphia. His goalies couldn't stop a beach ball, and the Jets have had some problems with their goaltending this year.
Now Smith dumps it into the Jets on. Back to get it is Kintal. Takes it in behind his goal. Quintal tries it for Manson. It's stopped at the blue line by Smith. Dumped into the Jet zone. Shovelday dumps it out to center. Here's Johansson. Puts it over the line. And it's offside.
Roger Johansson came over from Calgary, and they picked him up because he could play both forward and defense. And that's what the Chicago Blackhawks liked about Roger Johansson, the fact that he could play as a checking forward and fill in as a defenseman. Chicago is a lot of depth on defense, and you wonder whether they'll make a deal with Jeremy Roenick, now gone for the season, whether they will deal one of their defensemen. Steve Smith's name keeps popping up as the one that will go with Suter and Chelios and Eric Weinrich as their big three.
Will the Blackhawks have to change back to their more defensive style with Roenick gone?
I think they'll try and keep going offensively for a while, but they might have to unless they get another good offensive forward.
Now they face off in the Hawk zone. It comes back to Quintal. Quintal moves in, dumps it toward the goal. And now the Hawks try to start away, but there's going to be a penalty.
Jeff Shantz is getting a high sticking penalty, and I think it's on Nelson Emerson. Chicago's getting the penalty. I don't know whether it's Eddie Belfour or Jeff Shantz who's going to go. It's Roger Johansson. Johansson has a stick up. Down it comes. He was pulling his stick away, and it was right in front of Bill McCreary. Shantz looked like he thought he was going to go with his play on Emerson, but it was Roger Johansson who goes off for high sticking.
So the Jets send out the power play. They have Tkachuk with Solani and Emerson up front. Shamnov drops back to the point alongside Temple Numminen.
Special teams for the Winnipeg Jets are ranked 7th, but during this 10-game stretch, it has been dismal, and one of the reasons the Chicago Blackhawks are doing so well is their penalty killing and power play. Their power play number 1 and their penalty killing 4th.
Here's Shamnov over to Numminen. Tkachuk's in front. Numminen just dumped it at the net. Now it's knocked in behind. Chelios puts it to the corner. Grabbed there by Solani. Back to Shamnov to Solani. Tkachuk knocked down in front. Gets it over to Emerson. Now back to Solani. He looks in front at Tkachuk. Fades. Shamnov shot wide. Numminen with it. Trying to put it in deep. Emerson behind the net for Tkachuk. Now Chelios beat to it by Solani. Numminen charges in after it. He and Sutter arrive together. So does Tkachuk. Tkachuk. Solani. His shot knocked down in front. Solani changed his mind from the slot. Now with it is Tkachuk. Gets it back now to Numminen. Into the corner, Tkachuk. Tkachuk looks back at Numminen. Sends it instead to Emerson in front. Tkachuk shot blocked. Loose puck. Emerson. Shamnov drive. That went off Smith. Numminen. In deep now for Solani. Cuts in front. Backhand. It's in the crease. They bang away. And down on top of it is Eddie Belfour.
The Jets with 2 or 3 great scoring chances. They end up, Eddie Belfour gets lucky. Solani moves the puck out in front. Quick backhand. And it goes off 2 or 3 skates, and Emerson can't reach it. Belfour gets a stick down, and the puck goes under him. He didn't even know he had it. Earlier on this power play, Teemu Solani had a chance to shoot and ends up trying to hit Nelson Emerson in front. Belfour comes over, plays the shot. Solani tried to play it around the goaltender, and it hit a skate. No chance for the Jets.
Off the draw in the Hawk zone. Back at the point with it now is Manson. Gives it to Quintal. Trying it for Solani. Craven trying to pick it off. Solani checks him. 47 seconds left in the penalty to the Hawks. No score first period. Graham pokes it ahead for Craven. Beaten to it by Quintal. Puts it back in. Now Quintal gets it again to Solani. He bobbled it. Now back to the point. Manson. In behind the net it goes to Korolev. Korolev back now for Drake. Drake behind the net. Gives to Korolev. He's checked. And the Hawks starting away. Here's Suter. Works it up to center ice. Gets up to the jet line. Suter takes his time. And makes it a souvenir.
One of the reasons the Hawks think that they can trade one of their defensemen is the play of Gary Suter and Chris Chelios. Chelios averages about 35 minutes a game, and Gary Suter about 30 minutes a game. Here killing the penalty. Good offensive defenseman. Both Suter and Chelios have over 100 shots on net. So you know when they get the puck back at the blue line, they're going to fire it on goal.
Chicago Blackhawks. Win the streak, still have an opportunity of challenging Dallas.
Talking to Daryl Sutter, he's talking about his home games. He says it doesn't matter if you don't win them. They've won one of their last 4 home games.
Now the Hawks dump it all the way down the ice. Cheveldae leaves it there for Wilkinson. The former Hawk drops it off to Darryl Shannon. He steps in front. Puts it on the right side to Gillen. Gillen dumps it in. The penalty is over. Belfer stumbles. Puck into the corner. Domi behind the net to King. King centers it. And it's grabbed there and taken away by Murphy. Tried it for Johansson. Sends it into the jet zone. And back is Shannon. No score. 6 minutes gone in the opening period. Chelios dumps it in. Wilkinson lugs it out. Gets as far as center. Manages to keep it from Amante. Dumps it in. And back to get it is Chris Chelios. Sends it back to Smith. For Amante. They head now to Shans. Looks over at Graham. Tried it for Graham in traffic. Graham has to circle back. The captain of the Hawks. Now dumps it into the jet zone. And back to get it is Shannon. Shannon approached by center, gives it to Wilkinson. Ahead to King. King's pass, rink wide. Shannon looks ahead at Domi. Can't get it to him. Now the puck goes into the Hawk zone, and with it is Chelios. To Graham. To Sutter. With it there. Behind the net for Gray. In front, Jim, shot! And Belfer somehow stopped it for the post in. Here's Sutter beside the net. Sends it up the boards. Newman pinches in. Puck goes free. Korolev to Newman. Into Drake. Drake kicks at it, trying to escape Smith. Drake, persistent, goes to the corner. Spins. Drake kicks at it. Sutter is there. So is Smith. Korolev helps out. Korolev pokes it free to Drake behind the net. Drake looks. Newman pinches. Knocked away from him. And with it now for the Hawks is Weinrich. Weinrich starts away. Gets up to center ice. Dumps it. Oh, Kachuk nailed Weinrich. Open ice at center. Here's Emerson. Weinrich went after him, and Emerson sidestepped him. Now Murphy gains the jet line. Here's Murphy. He broke Poulin. Shot blocked by Quintal. Poulin with it again. Behind the net now for Nichols. In the corner. Slides into the side. Graham. His check. Puck goes free. Picked up by Newman. Newman looks for Emerson. He's checked. Nichols gains the jet line. Here's Nichols. In front. Knocked away by Quintal. Nichols centers. Quintal knocked it away. And with it is Emerson to Solani. At center ice. Solani with Kachuk and Quintal. Solani dropped it off. Here's Quintal. He slides it to the side. Belfer knocked it behind. Nichols can't get it out. Manson at the point. He dumps it in front off Kachuk. And it's picked up by Suter. Looks it back to Chelios. Ahead now to Poulin. 8:40 gone in a scoreless opening period. And it's been a good one to this point. Back forward is Chelios. Trying it for Johansson. Now Manson. Leaves it for Eagles. Eagles dumps it into the corner. After it goes Suter, Grosjean lines him up and nails him in against the boards. Wilkinson goes after his man, and now the Hawks start away. Here's Shans against Manson. Shans trying to beat Manson. He can't. Puck rolls into the corner. Now, Krivakrazov trying to sneak free. Centers it. Gillen dropped it off to Wilkinson. Wilkinson flips it high and all the way back into the Hawk zone. Here come the Hawks again. Chelios at center. Long shot wide. Craven goes after it. Puts it in behind the net. Wilkinson and Graham arrive together. Wilkinson manages to hold it along the board. Shamrock goes in to help out. 4 of them in there now. Shamrock comes out with it. Gives it to Shannon, back to Shamrock. Shamrock on the move at center. Trying to go through the defense. Rolls into the corner. Goes after it himself. Shamrock behind the net. Korolev. He centers. And that goes off Belfer. Now Graham sends it out to center. Newman puts it back in. And the Hawks have it again. With it is Smith. Gives to Graham. Checked by Korolev. Drake goes after it deep. Out of the net is Belfort. Gives it to Smith. They could be playing this game straight time.
Eddie Belfort is not real strong with the puck, but he's very smart with it. Good play to Smith.
Here's Drake. Dropped it on Shimnoff. Trying to get by Weinrich. His hook is going to be a penalty. Now the play continues. Here's Drake behind the net. Jets with 6 attackers, but Weinrich knocks it down. This is your Molson Dry telecast.
Nothing compares to a family gathering. Smell that fresh roasted Granny's turkey. Perfect for those special occasions. But wait. Granny's isn't just for traditional gatherings. Granny's farm fresh taste and country goodness.
Have you had your break today? We all need to get away. There's one place that's on your way. McDonald's is your break today. Have you had your break today? Easy classic McDonald's way. Taste the break, the smile and say, ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Have you had your break today?
Dallas Drake feeds it out to Alexei Zhamnov. He has Eddie Belfort beaten, but it goes off the post, off Belfort's skate, and out the other side. Good aggressive period by the Winnipeg Jets. Hit by Steve Smith on Daryl Shannon. Keith Tkachuk came out off the bench. Hit Eric Weinrich after the pass. Good solid hit by Tkachuk. Weinrich watched the pass, got flattened, and then Weinrich takes a hooking penalty on Alexei Zhamnov. Ty Domi went up to Steve Smith after that big hit on Daryl Shannon. And Steve Smith must remember the fight from last year.
Jets had good pressure on their previous power play opportunity. They send out Tkachuk, Emerson, and Solani up front. Zhamnov back with Numanen. Now Zhamnov gets it. He goes to Numanen. Numanen's pass for Tkachuk. The captain of the Jets will try to get something organized. Gives it to Zhamnov, who's the man to do it. Zhamnov gets in across the line. Goes into the corner now along the board. Solani back for Emerson. Emerson circles with it. Emerson moves along the line. Tkachuk's in front. Solani takes the pass. Now it goes back to Emerson. Emerson, uncertain, now gives to Solani. Solani across for Zhamnov. Zhamnov's pass broken up, and Craven dumps it away.
Murray Craven playing in only his 3rd game, killing penalties, playing a regular shift, playing as a winger for the Blackhawks, not as a centerman.
1 minute and 10 seconds left in the penalty to Weinrich. Here's Zhamnov. Gets to center ice, gives to Tkachuk, gains the line. Tkachuk trying to pull his way through, had it knocked away, and it goes all the way down. Emerson back with it. He drops to Quintal. Quintal has some room straight up the middle, takes it, goes in across the line. Trying to go outside, checked by Nichols. Manson follows up. Here's Manson to Quintal to Emerson. Tkachuk's in front. Emerson to Manson. Manson's pass back for Quintal. Quintal takes a look, winds it up, lets it go. Save rebound. And Emerson couldn't get the wood on it. It goes down to Solani. Solani back to Manson. To the other side, Quintal. Tkachuk's in front. Pass to Emerson. Tried to feed Tkachuk. It's in behind the net. Suter checked by Emerson to Tkachuk. Tkachuk back to the point. Quintal. Quintal moves along the line. Here's Quintal. Gives it to Manson, to Solani, back to Manson. Manson trying to get it to Solani. He's checked. And Murphy knocked it away. So that runs out the man advantage as Weinrich steps out of the penalty box. Smith goes back to get it. 7:24 left first period. No score. Puck in the Chicago zone. Gillen and Johansson battle for it. Now King grabs it. King turns. King trying to get away from Johansson. King still with it. Now leaves it for Domi. Domi against Johansson. Domi kicks at it. Johansson's got his stick. Now Domi grabs the puck. Johansson stays with him. King goes after it in the corner. King against Smith. Now the Hawks trying to clear it. Gillen cuts it off. It goes again to Domi. Domi to King. King back, and that went wide. Now Wilk Wilkinson moves in. Gives it to Domi. Behind the net, King. In front, Gillen. Hit one off him just wide. Here's Gillen again. In front, King. A shot. Low spot, Gillen trying to... He scores!
The Chicago Blackhawks. Randy Gillen, Ty Domi, and Chris King. Gillen gets a chance, King gets a chance, and Domi gets a chance. Gillen pulls it out and just muscles it by Ed Belfour. Greg Smith tried to grab a hold of Gillen and couldn't get a hold of him. Greg Smith trying to hook Gillen, and Gillen just pushes it through Eddie Belfour.
Diligence pays off for Gillen. Domi and King, the Jets have a 1-0 lead, 13:26 into the opening period. First of the year for the veteran Randy Gillen. Will he make a 50-goal? Will Terry Simpson make a 50-goal man out of Randy Gillen?
They started them tonight. They played the first shift of the game.
Domi and King draw the assist. Smith shot. Ooh, that had a lot on it. It wound up going right into the stands. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's a crisis. We have a contract to replace thousands of defective doors. The Dominion Door Company's reputation is at stake.
We promise to deliver our doors to every good merchant from here to the Pacific.
What are we going to do?
Fastest flight.
I beg your pardon?
This fastest flight is economical and reliable. They have their own personnel providing door-to-door service.
Expedited service. Good show.
And fastest flight delivers on time or free. It's guaranteed.
Play Safeway's Score and Win. With a Jet Score, you can win a GE Spacemaker 2 microwave oven with sensor cooking controls, a 20-piece set of Mikasa fine china in the currents pattern, the home essentials from T-Pal, or Dirt Devil vacuums from Royal Appliance. You can also win a trip for two to Mazatlan, Mexico, courtesy of Canadian Holidays. Safeway's participating products, Kleenex facial tissues, and Kraft dinner. Score and win at Safeway, today's better way.
Well, Randy Gillen has made a winner out of Mrs. Marcy Latham on our Safeway Score and Win contest. She entered a ballot that included a label from Kraft Dinner, so Marcy has won the home essentials from T-Fowl. 1-0, the Jets lead. Puck is in the Jets zone. And Wilkinson knocked it away, but play has been whistled down.
Bill McCrary calling a hooking penalty. And Michael Groshek is going. Groshek from behind stops skating. And when he stops skating, he just pulls Eric Weinrich down as Weinrich tried to go to the net. And the Chicago Blackhawks have the power play opportunity.
The Jets of Groshek 2 minutes for hooking at 15:46.
So we'll get a first look at the best power play in the NHL.
And the Jets penalty killing ranked 11th. Chicago power play without Jeremy Roenick. You wonder now there'll be a lot more pressure on Bernie Nichols to make this power play tick.
Nichols comes out at center between Poulin and Murphy. Suter is back with Chelios. Jets send out Kachuk, Emerson, Quintal, and Manson. Face off to the left of Shovelday. One cleanly by Nichols to Chelios. He gives it to Poulin. Poulin looks back. Now puts it into the corner to Murphy. Murphy to Chelios. He lets it go. Deflected wide by Poulin. Here's Manson. Slaps it off the boards all the way down. Chelios without a stick. And going back to get it is Suter. Jets have outshot the Hawks 10-2. This is the first opportunity for the Hawks of the man advantage. Suter to Nichols. Gets up to the jet line, trying to work his way through. He's checked. Kachuk flips it high. Emerson gives chase. Emerson after a low puck. Turning it and goal. Short-handed. He's shot. And the save by Belfer. Good opportunity for the speedy Nelson Emerson. Now Poulin starts back. Gets it on the right side of Murphy. Murphy looks over, gives to Suter, gets over the line, trying to go through, he can't, and Kachuk dumps it away. Here's Chelios, pass off Nichols, grabbed by Gillen, and a slides him all the way down the ice.
Shots on goal 11-2, and that's the biggest save of the period for Ed Belfour, the breakaway by Nelson Emerson.
Chelios puts it out of play. 1-0, the Jets lead.
We want to make it perfectly clear. You'll find guaranteed low prices at your Canadian Tire store every day. If you find a better price anywhere, we'll match it. Guaranteed.
Remember to register your program number from the special edition lineup program found in today's Winnipeg Sun by calling the number listed on page 17 before 9 o'clock. Then watch to see if you're a winner during the third period of the game. The special edition lineup is brought to you by the Winnipeg Jets, the Winnipeg Sun, and CKND, Winnipeg TV.
Nelson Emerson tried to slide it through Eddie Belfour's legs, but Ed Belfour so quick getting down to make the save.
Here's Newman in, sends it all the way down the ice. Belfour wraps it over for Chelios. He slides it in behind the net now for Suter. 25 seconds left in the penalty to Michael Grosek. 1-0 the Jets lead. Suter gives to center, gives to Sutter. He's checked. Here's Dallas Drake looking for him. Chelios with the angle on him. Drake cutting in, and he couldn't get a shot away. Now Chelios gives it to Sutter. And Sutter moves straight up the middle. It's over the line, dropped it off, pass rink wide. Suter goes for it. Sutter's in front. Suter moves in deep. Here's Suter trying to drag it through. Out of the penalty box is Grosek. Newman and grabs the loose puck. And he dumps it out to center and all the way down the ice. Backboard is Weinrich, and it's icing against the Winnipeg Jets. So the Hawks unable to get a shot on goal with the man advantage. In the first intermission, we'll have an interview with Alexei Zhamnov, who's been red hot, and also a feature with the president of the Winnipeg Jets, Barry Shinkro, and the NHL scoreboard for Reimer Express.
Dallas Drake has a chance, but Chris Chelios is so quick. He has the angle on Drake, just pushes him aside, gets position, doesn't take a penalty, and makes sure that Drake can't cut to the net.
4 minutes and a second left in the opening period. The Jets are the only goal. Here's Quintal behind the net. Sends it up the boards. Eagles ties up Weinrich. It goes back to the point. Shans dumps it toward the goal. And Manson lugs it out. Here's Manson. One man back. Long shot. Kicked away by Belfour. And Smith sends it all the way back. Here's Shans going after a loose puck. Shans cuts at the net and rolled it wide. Weird line change that time by Randy Gillen.
Randy Gillen took the face-off. The face-off in the Jets zone. Randy Gillen took the face-off and then was going off on the change for another centerman. And when he does, it's his man that goes right by. Jeff Shantz goes in. Stepan Quintal reaches out with the right hand and hauls him down. Randy Gillen is just taking the face-off. He's going to the bench instead of playing the puck. He thinks Quintal can get it. And that created the chance for Jeff Shantz, and Quintal had to haul him down.
So the Hawks end up the power play for the second time. Nichols, Murphy, Amante, Suter, and Chelios. Nichols against Kachuk. The Jets had the better scoring opportunities the last time the Hawks had the man advantage. It goes back to the point. With it there is Chelios. He gives to Suter. Murphy's in front now. He's replaced in front by Amante. Suter puts it into the corner for Murphy. Murphy looking at Nichols. Feeds it toward the goal. It's at the side. Here's Amante. Just missed on the open side. Amante back to the point. Chelios. He gets it over to Suter. His shot kicked away by Cheveldae. Amante with it again. Gets it into Nichols. Nichols takes a look, tried to feed Amante. Wilkinson picked it off, and he slams it around on the glass, and that goes all the way down the ice. Chris Chelios, a minute 17 left in the penalty to Quintal. Just under 3 minutes left in the opening period. Here's Chelios. Gets it over to Suter. Suter goes wide outside, takes it deep. Suter cuts at the net, puts it in behind. With it now is Nichols. Nichols looks in front, takes it there himself, trying to jam it in. Now Murphy behind the net. He tries to wrap it. His shot, the save Cheveldae. Chelios shot and was blocked in front. And Gillen dumps it out to center. With it now is Suter. To Chelios. Back over to Suter. Over to Murphy. Offside, Chicago.
Tony Amati has the best scoring chance of this scrum around Tim Chevelday, and Chevelday with the quick left leg makes the save. Joe Murphy pulls it out, and it goes to Amati. He has a crack at it, and Chevelday gets that left leg out to make the save. The Hawks playing it down low with Murphy, Nichols, and Amati in tight on Tim Chevelday, and Amati missed an open net, then had that chance, and Chevelday made the save.
Now Weinrich dumps it into the Jets on 35 seconds left in the penalty to Stefan Quintal. Jamnov goes back to get it. Jamnov against center. It goes free to Craven. Craven approached by Manson. Now with it is Sutter. Back to the point, Weinrich. Weinrich gives to Sutter. Sutter on top of the circle, in deep. Now Craven shot. That's blocked. Solani goes after a loose puck. Dumps it out to center. And with it there is Weinrich. Over to Sutter. Sutter back now for Weinrich, 8 seconds in the penalty. And that should run it out as Manson's clearing effort went out of play.
I wonder what the coaching change will have, the effect the coaching change will have on the goaltending and the way the goaltenders have been used. I've wondered aloud a few times this year about how, when a goaltender's been on a semi-streak, how the change was made by John Paddock. And John would explain to me he liked to play hunches on a guy played well against a certain team, so he'd be back in again. I always felt when I played that if you were on a streak, it didn't matter who you were playing. That you were playing well and you could continue playing well no matter who you played against. Nikolai Hababulin's had a couple of streaks this year where he's looked good, and then Chevelday would get back in, and then when Hababulin came back in, he didn't play very well.
With it now is Manson, who played for Terry Simpson back in Prince Albert. He dumps it all the way down the ice. That runs out the penalty to Stefan Quintal. 1:35 left in the opening period. 1-0 the Jets lead it on a goal by Randy Gillen. Shannon back for it for Winnipeg. Sends it ahead now to Gillen. Gillen flips it out to center. Johansson goes back. King goes in after it quickly. Now the loose puck, Shans, chased by Tomei. It goes to Levinsky. His pass to center ice. Taken up to the jet line by Johansson. And Quintal back to get it for Winnipeg. To King. King's pass to the blue line, kept in by Smith, knocked in behind the net. Chevelday interferes with Levinsky. Now Quintal runs into Levinsky. Domi goes after it. Into the final minute of period 1. Domi trying to get away from the checking of Graham. Now Domi goes after Smith. Puck goes free. King runs into Nichols. King got the worst of that one. And Manson is down on top of the puck. Jets this week is coming up on Saturday at 6 o'clock. Hosted by none other than number 17 of the Winnipeg Jets, Chris King.
Chris bothered by a little knee problem. And there he's walking to the dressing room. Had it on ice this morning at the skate and said it seems to be a little cartilage deal where it catches every now and then. He's going to have it looked at.
Faceoff is just inside the Jet line. Emerson pulls it back to Numanen. Numanen gives to Tkachuk. Tkachuk flips it out over center all the way down the ice. Solani goes after it quickly. Suter got there first. Now Suter approached by Tkachuk. Pass goes to Chelios, to Nichols. Gains the jet line. Looks across for Pullen. Tied up by Emerson. Chelios, he shot. Chevelday made the save. Here's Emerson looking for Tkachuk. Pass went by him all the way down. Now Tkachuk goes after it deep. Tkachuk against Chelios. 13 seconds in the period. Nichols hits it out to center. McCoolchuk with it there. 7 seconds. He fires it back in, and that should just about do it as Belfer leaves it there for Chelios. Now they whistle it down with 1.6 left.
Tim Chevelday with another good save on a Chris Chelios shot through a maze of players. Chevelday has looked very confident here in the first period. Chelios just fires it through, and it almost hits Teppo Numminen on the way by. Shovelday is in position, gets the legs down and makes the save. Mikulchuk iced that one. He had a step from the red line and threw it down. Now the Hawks have a face-off, 1.6 seconds, and a chance to bang one at the Jet net.
Hawks full Eddie Belfour for this face-off. There's no way the Jets can get it down there that quickly, so they've got 6 attackers.
Right-hand shot, Bernie Nichols will probably just slap it at Tim Shovelday, and they'll jam the net, hope they can get it in before the time expires.
Nichols and Gillen. But Gillen wins the draw.
The Jets a very aggressive first period. They kept the Hawks back on their heels. They used their forechecking, used the body, and kept them away from Tim Shovelday. The Hawks had a couple of power plays, a few chances, but the quality scoring chances, the bulk of them were by the Winnipeg Jets.
So the score after one period, the Winnipeg Jets won, the Chicago Blackhawks nothing. Up next, Gene Principe with a red-hot Alexei Zhemnov.
Fantastic breakaway. Zhemnov scores!
Head down. Oh, man.
Somebody in there. Scores!
Winnipeg Jets Hockey, your NHL action adventure. For tickets, call 780-SEAT.
After one period of play, Randy Gillen has got his first goal of this NHL season, and the Jets lead the Hawks by 1 after one period of play. Jets could have had more out front. Dallas Drake to Alexei Zhemnov, and this is about the only thing Alexei Zhemnov has missed all week. He rung it off the post, out the other side, and Eddie Belfour got a little lucky on that one. Now joining us in this first intermission, Alexei Zhemnov. Alex, your thoughts on that chance in the first period?
Well, it's Dallas Drake have a great job, with good work and behind the net and giving the pass, but tough luck, post. So just keep going the same way, I think. So I have lots of chance tonight. So.
You were telling me this morning you hadn't scored 5 goals in a game since junior hockey in Russia. It's been a while.
Well, of course I'm very excited after the game in LA. 5 goals in my hockey career for NHL. I'm very happy. If team win after this game, I'm more happy. So.
We've asked your coaches, your teammates about what you're doing. Explain to us how you're rolling along so well this season.
Well, I don't know, I think so. I have more concentrated about shots. Just this may be important for me, I think so. I have, this is my, I think so, best year, I have injury back for the last 2 years, and right now I feel great, just keep going the same way, I think.
It's only been 20 minutes under new coach Terry Simpson, but your thoughts on the change behind the bench?
Well, I don't think so, big difference what kind of coach today, if we believe a good team, if we believe for this good coach, just work in every game, every night. I think so. This is very important for us right now if you want to play playoffs, we need to play every night, I don't know, this period, I think so.
Well, thank you, Alex, and you've got 40 minutes to get 5 goals, so you get out there and get back to work. Coming up next, we'll talk to Alex Zhamnov's boss, Barry Shankaro, is on the way. We'll talk to the Jets president. Our intermission continues. After 20 minutes of play, Winnipeg over the Hawks, 1-0. It may be pretty darn cold outside, but it is warm inside, and that is courtesy of the Winnipeg Jets, who lead the Chicago Blackhawks 1-0 after one period of play. Now joining us, Jets team president Barry Shankaro. Barry, your thoughts on what a busy day it has been for the Jets with this morning the move and then tonight the game?
Well, Gene, I think there's been a lot of speculation about what we were going to do, and we've had a lot of meetings with John and Mike O'Hearn and different coaches and people, and the ultimate decision was John's and the whole hockey department's, and we thought that bringing Randy in and moving John out and having Terry move up to the head coach would have enough of an impact of change, maybe perhaps to have a spark on the team. It's not a question of the coaches doing or not doing a good job. It's a question of if you're going to change, what change would be enough perhaps to give the spark, and Randy's always wanted to coach, and we thought we'd give him the chance.
There have been lots of talk, of course, about the Winnipeg Jets staying in Winnipeg. Minnesota, in the area there, they want their NHL team back, or an NHL team. They are making overtures to the Jets. It's almost like tampering. You guys aren't even moved yet. Hopefully you won't be moving, and they're already talking about moving you there.
Well, they're talking. We're at least I'm not, and I know my partners haven't talked to anybody about moving the team. We're working hard with the people from MEC to determine whether or not it can work in Winnipeg, and until that determination is made, we're not looking to move the team or to sell the team or anything else.
With the lockout, there was talk about putting some system in place to evening out the value of the American dollar compared to the Canadian. Is there anything coming up along that lines, or are we left to wonder what will happen?
Well, this is one of the problems. We didn't get a salary cap and we didn't get a tax, and one of the big problems that we have in determining whether it's going to be viable in Winnipeg is the fact that some of our partners are just continuing to sign players to higher and higher contracts, and at the same time the question of some sort of equalization is not moving along quite the way we hoped it would. But we're pushing, and hopefully it will come. A quick thought on your gut feeling as May 1st rolls around, what will happen to this team and franchise here in this city? Well, I'm always the optimist, but right now I'd say with 3 weeks or 4 weeks to go that, we're fighting a real uphill battle. All right, thank you, Barry Schenker. We hope we reach the top of that hill before May 1st. Up next, we'll have a look around the NHL and see what is going on as we'll update you with the Reimer Express NHL scoreboard. The update around Winnipeg is 1-0 after 1 on CKND.
Through a coaching change quite similar to what's happened here in Winnipeg with Calgary. What effect is it going to have?
Well, I'll tell you, John, I'm having deja vu here today, and this what Winnipeg's looking to do is just create a new attitude. They've been struggling as of late, and it's as the old saying goes, you can't fire all the players, fire the coach, set a new attitude in the dressing room. The players come in with a fresh start, and they're going to come out. And as you've seen tonight, I think they've shown they've had a jump start like John Paddock was looking for. They've come out, played a very strong period.
They did play a strong period. Doug Riseborough, Guy Chiron. Now, I don't want to ask you the result of what happened when that happened in Calgary. The Winnipeg Jets, do you think that they can carry this over? 15 games left in the season.
Well, it's going to be a jump start, and how long they can carry it on, it remains to be seen. But I think so far tonight you've seen the jump start happening. But if they want to carry this on, if they can continue with a win tonight, who knows? Maybe they can carry it 3, 4, 5 games and that type of streak and get them into the playoffs.
Second period against Chicago, what do you expect?
Well, I think Winnipeg wants to come out and play the same way. They're playing a very strong overall hockey game so far. They're winning on the boards. They're getting to the puck first. That's making the difference. I think Terry Simpson's in the dressing room telling him right now, guys, don't change a thing. You're playing great. That's the attitude they want. They want to continue with it.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Kurt and I will be back with second period action on CKND, Winnipeg TV.
So we're back at the Winnipeg Arena preparing for the second period. After 1, it's the Jets leading the Chicago Blackhawks 1-0. The goal scored by Randy Gillen, his first of the year, assisted by Chris King and Ty Domi. Some hard work at the 13:26 mark of that opening period. The Jets shot the Hawks 12-8.
Terry Simpson's team played a very aggressive first period, strong along the boards, as Kerry Wilson was talking about, and that's hard to do against Chicago because Chicago is known as a hard-working, good board team. I guess, Kurt, we could say that the Jets haven't lost when Randy Gillen scores this year.
That's true. Nor when Terry Simpson coaches.
That's right.
Or when Randy Carlisle's behind the bench.
That's right. Same line that started the game for Terry Simpson, starting here in the second period. Set the tone early.
Randy Gillen, Ty Domi, and Chris King. Craven is out with Sutter for the Chicago Blackhawks, and also
they're waiting for the goal judge.
Krasov.
Goal judge has not shown up here for the second period. Now he's in place. Bill McCreary waves. Must have been a lineup at the hot dog stand.
That was Joe Walker. He was into the sausage rolls. I saw him.
Oh.
Off the face-off, it goes back to Quintal. Quintal chased by Craven. Tried it for Domi. Domi stopped by Smith. Now Craven puts it into the Jets on, and with it there, Quintal. Quintal flips it high. It's out of play.
Coast to coast, no one serves Canadians better. Canadian Tire, proud to be part of Canada for over 70 years.
Randy Carlisle hollering at his defense pairings, trying to make sure they're still in the game and keep them in the game, and I think that's something the Jets can use. They can use somebody behind the bench that's a little more vocal and keep them involved. There you see an example. That's one thing Randy Carlisle never been at a loss for words.
Face-off comes in a Jet zone, and they drop it unfairly. This is the first of 3 games in 4 nights for the Winnipeg Jets. Vancouver's here Friday, and they go to Toronto on Saturday. Gillen and Sutter, a couple of guys been around a long time. Gillen pulls it back to Quintal. Takes it in behind his net, walks there by Krivokrasov. Tries it for Domi. Smith moves in, dumps it toward the goal. Grabbed there by Quintal. Quintal gets outside the zone. Krivokrasov pesters him. Now it's dumped in. Gillen manages to pump it in behind the net. Belfer around for Craven. Craven and King collide. Puck goes to center. And Quintal sends it wide of Manson. And Manson puts it out of play.
New coach for Dave Manson, and Dave Manson's had a shortened season that I'm sure he'd like to forget the way it's gone this year, but under a new coach and with Randy Carlyle as a constant reminder of what to do defensively, I think that will help Dave Manson in the final 15 games.
Face-off will come at the Winnipeg Jet blue line. The third meeting between these clubs. Each side is 1-1. Alexei Zhemnov against Bernie Nichols. It comes to Chelios. He fires it into the Jet zone. Drake is there against Poulin. Now Mikulchuk trying to dig it out. Does get it to Zhemnov. He moves it to center, gives it to Newman, and gains the line back for Zhemnov. And it was offside.
Mark Perry made that call. Alexei Zhemnov didn't like the call, and it was a good call. He dropped it back right at the blue line. It was out to start with. Solani went over. Zhemnov kicked it in, and Mark Perry said, yeah, I made the call, and I still think I'm right. Absence of Andy Murray behind the bench, and you hate to see Andy Murray go, one of the real nice guys in the NHL, and almost too nice.
Here's Poulin, gives it to Chelios. He gives to Suter. Suter is checked. Now with it is Korolev. Korolev gives to Zhemnov, gains the line. Zhemnov dropped it off to Korolev, right in front, a shot. And that hit a player. It goes back to Mikulchuk. He dumps it in behind the net. Around to the boards, Murphy. Newman and pinches against him. It goes to Poulin. Poulin to center ice. Stopped there by Zhemnov. Zhemnov mishandles Murphy and Nichols 2-on-1. Here's Murphy. Tried it for Nichols. Broken up by Mikulchuk. Zhemnov slides out to center. Newman takes the puck. Gains the line. Tried it for Korolev, who missed it. And now Nichols turns it around. Ahead now to Murphy. And it was offside.
I wonder how Bernie Nichols' play will be affected by the absence of Jeremy Roenick. That's one thing that the Chicago Blackhawks said was when they had Roenick and Nichols, they had 2 lines, and that the checking line of the other team was usually on the Roenick line. And that let Bernie Nichols work his magic with Joe Murphy. And now the checking lines will be concentrating on the point leader of the Chicago Blackhawks, and that's Bernie Nichols.
Things look a little tighter for Bernie Nichols the last 13 games of the season. Here's Amante to center ice. Wilkinson got in his way. Solani grabs the puck, can't clear. Amante moves in, lets it go. And now Emerson with it. Emerson's pass for Tkachuk. It goes all the way down. Shans has it there. Shans leaves it. Amante picks it up, puts it in front of the goal to Weinrich. Ahead now to Shans. Pass on the right side. Amante stopped there by Shannon. Tkachuk knocked it away. Weinrich along the boards. Puts it into the middle. Tkachuk moves in after it. And now loose puck. Here's Emerson trying to move in. Puck goes to the corner. In with it, Steve Smith. To Amante. He moves to center ice with Graham and Weinrich. Amante trying it for Graham. Has to wait for it. Amante was hit by Wilkinson. And with it now is Shannon. Ahead to center ice. Tkachuk to Emerson. Checked up the line by Shans. Following up Wilkinson. Puts it into the Hawk zone. And now the Hawks, Krivokrasov gets to center ice, gets to the jet line, dropped it to Craven. He lets it go. Steered away by Shovelday. 1-0. The Jets lead it 3 minutes into the second period. Here's Domi. Domi moving quickly up the left side, gets to center. Dumps it in wide of the goal. Belfer goes out of the net. Belfer leaves it there for Sutter with Domi in pursuit. Left for Chelios. Chelios is hit by King. Here's Gillen, centers, and Belfer counts.
good solid hit. Chelios had his head down, and Chris King went in and nailed Chelios. And Chelios had the hold of Ty Domi.
Well, it's not often you see Chelios hit like that. And the fans of the Winnipeg Arena, not surprisingly, love it. This is your Molson Dry telecast.
She's of average height and average weight. Yet, there's absolutely nothing average about her. She's what happens when a company believes safety isn't one thing, it's everything. And she is the first and only crash test dummy with that special glow. The company is General Motors.
Fisher-Price knows every kid needs someone to hang out with, someone who speaks their language.
One go to the zoo? Okay, bad idea.
A second banana who always laughs at their jokes no matter how silly. New chattering chimps from Fisher-Price, each sold separately.
The Fisher-Price Mountain Bike. Loaded with real mountain bike features, plus a special way to let little bikers grow from a 3-wheeler to a 2-wheeler without any tools at all. The 3-to-2 Mountain Bike from Fisher-Price.
Chris Chelios gets distracted by Randy Gillen, and he gets set up for Chris King. A little chop by Gillen, and then King has Chelios. No charging, just a good solid hit. And then Brent Sutter comes in. Gillen, the chop. King sliding into Chelios. Good solid hit. And then Brent Sutter came in on Chris King, and Sutter ends up with a roughing penalty.
So the Jets come out of this with a man advantage. Tkachuk, Emerson, and Solani up front. Shamnov drops back to the point position alongside Numanen. 1-0 the Jets lead. 3:12 into the second period. Craven and Graham up front at a penalty-killing roll. Now it's dumped in. Back to get it. Weinrich slaps it around on the glass. Numanen moves in with it. Into the corner, Emerson. Bothered there by Smith. Numanen follows up. Poked away from him. Tkachuk gives it to Numanen. Into the corner, Emerson. Emerson is called down by Weinrich. Tkachuk trying to dig it out, but play has been called. Remember to register your program number from the special edition lineup found in today's Winnipeg Sun by calling the number listed on page 17. And you've only got about 15 minutes to do it. Then watch to see if you're a winner during the third period of tonight's game. The special edition lineup is brought to you by the Winnipeg Jets, the Winnipeg Sun, and CKND Winnipeg TV.
Chris Chelios plays so much, but he's one of the toughest guys besides being one of the best skaters in the league. After that big hit by Chris King, still out there to kill off this penalty.
Emerson back to the point. Numanen puts it in behind the net. It goes by Solani. Solani gives chase along with Graham. Now it goes to Shamnov. Over to the other side. Numanen, he lets it go. Chelios the bill for the save, and now it goes to Graham. Graham gets by Shamnov, trying to work by Numanen. Numanen knocked it away. Back to get it is Emerson. Emerson up the right side. He's got Tkachuk and Solani, dumps it in. Solani goes after it. Belfer's out of the goal. Belfer puts it in the corner. Amati tied up by Tkachuk. Now Numanen leaves it for Emerson. Puts it in deep. It's sent back out by the Hawks. Amati after it. Here comes Cheveldae out of the goal. He sends it around behind the net. Amati goes after it. Shamnov is there. Can't get it outside. And now it goes to Tkachuk. Tkachuk stopped by Suter. Numanen gets it to Tkachuk. He gives it to Solani. Solani with Shamnov moving in. In front. His drink. A shot. And that went over top. But play has been called because there's a cluster back at the blue line.
Tkachuk and Chelios and then Joe Murphy involved. I don't think the whistle blew before that good chance by Dallas Drake. Little pushing and shoving. Tkachuk, Chris Chelios comes up, gives him a little elbow. Tkachuk goes back at Chelios. Derry Suter's there. Chelios misses Tkachuk, but Tkachuk goes back at him. And Dallas Drake had the good scoring chance. I didn't hear the whistle before that shot went wide. Drake had all sorts of time in the slot area. Whistle blown by Bill McCreary.
Well, Chelios and Kachuk get unsportsmanlike conduct penalties at 4:37.
Chicago had a great start on the road. That's why their road record is most impressive in the NHL. They have the most road wins of anybody, and that includes Detroit.
Now the puck in the Chicago zone. Here's King and Weinrich. It goes down to Korolev. Korolev tried it for Drake. Drake back to the point. Kintal, traffic in front, gets it over now to Manson. Manson to Korolev. 19 seconds on the jet man advantage. Drake goes after it in the corner. Puts it back for King. To the other side, Korolev and Murphy go after it. It's knocked behind the net. King runs into Smith. Here's Kintal. Gets it into Korolev. Into the corner now to King. King in behind the net to Drake. Drake gets it back to King. The penalty is over. Here's Drake. Drake looks in front. Drake still has it. Gives to Korolev. Korolev shot. Gloved and held by Eddie Belfour.
Looking at the Chicago Blackhawks road record, they had an 8-game trip and they won 6 games of their 8-game trip in late January. Eddie Belfour, one of those goaltenders with a new contract. His is an $8 million plus contract for 4 years. Kirk McLean just signed a new one for the Vancouver Canucks. 5-year deal, but I don't know how much Kirk McLean got, but I'm sure it would be in the $10 million range. And there's a look at Jeff Hacken. Backup played last night in Calgary, and Jimmy Waite, their other goaltender, has been sent to Indianapolis for conditioning purposes. Not much fun being a backup goaltender to Eddie Belfour. He plays 60 to 65 games a year.
Here's Solani, moves in front. Nice shot though for the save. Grosek went after the rebound. Suter beat him to it. Now Wilkinson puts it in. Both palms at full strength as Craven has it at center ice. Dropped it to Suter. 1-0 the Jets late in the second. Suter in front. Craven shot blocked by Shannon. Craven goes after it again. To Krivik-Krazov back to Suter and drive. And Chevrolet, who looks really cool and composed tonight, dropped it aside. Now with it is Sutter. He gives to Krivik-Krazov. He moves in. Shot. Chevrolet the save. Krivik-Krazov goes into the corner, but play has been called as
Mike Eagles, without his stick, ends up tackling Murray Craven. Krivik-Krazov has a good chance, and Eagles doesn't have his stick, so he's just going to tackle Craven, gets him out of the way, and another good save by Tim Cheveldae on Krivik-Krazov. Left-hand shot, cuts across, snaps it short side, and Cheveldae's there to handle it with his stick.
So the Blackhawks get the man advantage again.
At the end of the Winnipeg power play, Teemu Selanne had a good scoring chance, and Ed Belfour, like Tim Cheveldae, waited very patiently and gets the right leg out to make the save on Selanne.
The Hawks send out Brent Sutter, Murray Craven, Sergei Krivik-Krazov. They have Gary Suter back at the point, along with Roger Johansson. Chris Chelios is still in the penalty box. Suter against Gillen. It goes back to the point. Johansson winds it up. He lets it go. Knocked away by Cheveldae. Manson gives to Gillen. To Shemnov. Shemnov circles back with it. Kills some time. Gives to Manson. And Manson dumps it all the way down the ice. Here's Belfour. Around for Suter. Suter now starts away for Chicago. Gets the pass to Sutter. Sutter up to the line, gives it to Suter. That's knocked down. Jamnov goes after it. Kicks at it. Puts it back to Manson. He turns and fires it all the way. A minute 22 left in the penalty to Mike Eagles. 1-0 the Jets lead. 6:40 into the second period. Johansson tried for Nichols. By him all the way down. Manson goes back for it. Manson tried to clear. Stopped by Suter. It goes around now to Murphy. Murphy works it in deep. Now sends it back to the point. Weinrich to Amade. Amade into Murphy. Back. Here's Amade. He scored! Tony Amade ties it up.
Dave Manson had a chance to get that puck out, hesitated, and then couldn't clear the zone. And when that happened, the Chicago Blackhawks worked it around. finally got it set up for a left-hand shot coming off the right-hand boards. That's Tony Amati. Top of the circles. And he beats Tim Shovelday. Dave Manson is in the line of sight. Tony Amati will be talking to Gene at the end of the second. Manson goes out, tries to block it, and misses it. And when that happens, the goaltender doesn't have much chance. Right by Tim Shovelday.
So it's 1-1, 7:02 into the second period. A power play goal by the Blackhawks. Tony Amati. Murphy and Weinrich draw the assists. Puck is dumped into the Jet zone. Back to get it is Daryl Shannon. His pass goes to Drake. Drake to Shamnov. Shamnov stopped at center now by Shans. That goes to Graham. A shot that went wide. And back to get it is Drake. Drake puts it around for Korolev. Korolev dumped it out to center all the way down. It will not be icing. Back to get it is Amate. Around for Shans. Puck goes to the blue line and out. Chelios. Amate was wrapped up by Shamnov. And back forward is Shannon. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the second period, the score tied 1-1. Drake is hit by Horacek. Now it goes back into the Hawk zone, and with it is Chelios. To Smith. To Horacek. Up to the Jet line. Horacek fires it wide of the goal. Chelios at the point. He lets it go. Deflected wide. It's in behind the net. Dubinsky tied up by Korolev. Kicks it into the corner. Dubinsky goes after it. Slides it behind the net. Wilkinson knocked down by Kimball. There's going to be an unnecessary penalty to Kimball. So the Jets will have the manpower advantage when we return.
At Midway, there's no problem. Price is too high? No problem. We'll beat any dealer's best price guaranteed. No cash? No problem. Pay nothing down and make no payments for up to 120 days. Credit trouble? No problem. No credit application will be refused. Hurry to Midway Chrysler, 730 Portage Avenue.
Is he dreaming?
Yep, talk show dream.
Well, it's time for breakfast.
Did you hear the one about the taste of nuts and honey?
Whoa!
Honey Nut Cheerios?
We're gonna test your tummy with a taste of nuts and honey. It's a honey oven oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Don't be alarmed, we're Negroes.
On April 7th, get ready for the boys. Martin Lawrence. Will Smith.
Something wrong with you.
Bad Boys.
What you gonna do?
At theaters Friday.
Second intermission, Tony Amati, Jeremy Roenick's closest friend in the NHL. We'll be talking to Gene. We'll have a news update and Dirt Devil trivia. Darren Kimball, this is a ridiculous penalty, a stupid penalty to take in the offensive zone. Kimball's caught in between trips Neil Wilkinson, and the Jets have another power play.
1-1 the score. Here's Smith with it at center. The Jets have Tkachuk, Solani, Emerson up front on the power play. Zhamnov drops back with Newman. Newman has it now, leaves it there for Zhamnov. He gives to Tkachuk, who dumps it in. Belfer puts it to the corner, stopped there by Emerson. Goes free to Chelios. He handed it to Tkachuk in front. Emerson bats at it. Here's Solani behind the goal, trying to work it in front. Solani and Chelios fight for it. Now Emerson gives to Tkachuk. Tkachuk back to the point. And it goes outside the zone. With it there's Shamnov. Shamnov checked by Craven. And Emerson goes back for it. Here's Emerson. A penalty coming up to the Hawks. Emerson dumps it in. Chelios goes back for it. And play has been whistled down, so the Jets will have a two-man advantage for 1 minute and 9 seconds.
Murray Craven broke his stick on Nelson Emerson. Emerson goes by. Craven just chops at him. Craven was down on the ice. Craven's stick broke, and Bill McCreary makes the call. And the face-off is in the Chicago zone. Craven falls down, and Emerson's going by, so Craven just gives him a shot. The stick breaks, and Bill McCreary makes the call.
So a glorious opportunity for the Jets to snap out of a 1-1 tie. Tkachuk and center. Shamnov moves up to the front line. with Solani. Manson is back with Newman. Face off to the right of Belfort. It goes to the corner. Chelios gets it outside the zone with it. There's Manson. He gives to Newman. Newman gets over the line, dropped it to Zhamnov. Here's Zhamnov, looks over for Manson. Manson, back to Newman, back to Manson. Manson takes his time, in for Solani. Solani back, Manson's drive, and the save by Eddie Belfour with Tkachuk stationed in front.
Shot high. Belfour able to get that left hand up to make the save. Jets throw it around, but don't get right in front of Ed Belfour. Tkachuk is there, but he's not in front of Belfour. Belfour sees the shot, gets the left hand out to make the save. Good play by Solani to Dave Manson, but nobody in front of Belfour. Lots of action out of town. Hartford in Pittsburgh trying to break a streak. New Jersey over Ottawa. Quebec in Montreal. They play again tomorrow night in Quebec. The Rangers on the road in Florida. And St. Louis beating Toronto again.
Here's Manson, holds it into Newman. Jets in a two-man advantage for 39 more seconds. Here's Zhamnov to Newman. Newman winds it up, lets it go. Bell for the save. Now Manson has it again. Gets it over to Newman, and he's got room. In for Solani. Solani tried to pass it in front. Solani won't shoot the puck anymore.
And there's going to be a penalty, a cross-checking penalty. And it looks like it's going against Keith Tkachuk. Zhamnov to Newman and a touch pass to Solani. But Teemu Solani tries to pass instead of shooting. Newman to Solani, lots of time. He tries to pass. And there's the cross-check on Eric Weinrich. Ed Belfour's been solid. He's been lucky. This shot tipped. Gets that right leg out to make the save.
So the Jets with a one-man advantage now as Tkachuk heads off. 24 seconds left in that penalty. The first of the penalties to Chicago, the one to Darren Kimball. Here's Chelios. Puts it outside the zone. Now with it is Manson. Manson gives to Solani. He swirls with it. Now makes another spin. It goes down to Manson into Solani. 3-on-1. They move into Newman, and he's shot. And the save by Belfour. Here's Newman with it again. Gives it to Solani. Solani back to Newman. Newman back for Solani. Out of the penalty box is Kimball. Newman to Manson, a drive. Here's Zhamnov with it. Back to the point, Manson. Both clubs playing in equal numbers. Here's Manson to Zhamnov. He scores!
This is all set up with the play by Dave Manson at the blue line. Manson gets by his man at the blue line and sets his play up. It's 4-on-4. Manson goes by his man and feeds Zhamnov in the quick forehand to backhand off the post and beats Ed Belfour. The pass, Manson to Zhamnov, nice pass, forehand backhand shot, and not much chance. The quick hands of Alexei Zhamnov. Ed Belfour never had a chance to get set.
23rd goal in the air for the guy who has a way of making them look easy, Alexei Zhamnov. Manson and Newman and draw the assists. 2-1 the Jets lay it. It was scored 4-on-4. They're still 4-on-4. Here's Manson. Gets it ahead now to Korolev. Center ice. Gains the line. Dropped it off. Here's Quintal to Korolev. Korolev trying to work by Suter. Now 4 of them down in the hot corner. Krivakrazov will grab it. And he scoots straight out. Sergei Krivakrazov to center. Gains the jet line. Moves across. Lets it go. Save Chevrolet. And he covered up on a rolling puck. The Jets score, and Mrs. Ann Lyons is our next lucky winner in our Safeway Score and Win contest by including a Bel Air orange juice proof of purchase and entering at Safeway. And you have won a Polaroid Captiva instant camera.
Alexei Zhamnov's on such a roll. That's 8 goals in his last 4 games, a 4-game goal-scoring streak. And he's got such quick hands. Takes that pass from Manson and just a quick forehand, backhand, no chance for Ed Belfour.
He has 49 points on the season. League scoring leader Eric Lindros has 55. And Jaromir Jagr had 50 going into action tonight. In 4 seconds, the Hawks will gain a man advantage of a 43-second duration. Here's Suter. Craven steps out of the penalty box now. Here's Suter. Gains the jet line, trying to set up the power play. Moves in toward the dot. Lets it go. Newman and blocked it. Now Eagles grabs the loose puck. Gets it outside the zone. Drink gives chase. Chelios is there. Chelios to Craven. Craven to center. Up to the jet line is checked. Murphy has to wait. Now gets over. Knocks it in behind the net. Cheveldae lanes it there for Newmanen. Newmanen can't get it by Nichols. Nichols looks in front. Feeds it back to Suter. Suter lets it go. Eagles crawling to block it. Then clears it away. Here's Chelios. Gets it over to Amade. The jet penalty is over. Here's Amade. Trying to work in front. Puck in behind the net. Murphy goes for it. Puts it behind. Nichols grabs. He centers. Wilkinson can't clear. Here's Chelios. He's got some room now. Wilkinson moves toward it. Domi grabs the puck. And the Jets start away. Here's Tkachuk with Domi 2-on-1. Tkachuk over the line. Here's Tkachuk to Domi. He poked it wide. And the net was dislodged as Amade came flying in after the fact.
This was our career bust. This is what, $100 million? Gone.
2 cups. Just do what you do, only faster. 2 partners.
Can you stay focused? What are you talking about? I'm focused.
Too close to the edge.
You ain't with the bad guys now. You with the cops.
Martin Lawrence, Will Smith.
You know, you drive almost slow enough to drive Miss Daisy.
Bad Boys. What you gonna do? At theaters Friday.
When you drive your Jeep out of the dealership, you quickly discover that it's engineered for the cruel world outside. But the best way to protect your investment is to bring it back to your Jeep Eagle dealer for regular maintenance. For advanced computerized diagnostic systems. For genuine Mopar parts. And for Chrysler-trained technicians that know your Jeep best. Chrysler 5-star service keeps your Jeep on or off the road because nobody knows your Jeep like your Jeep Eagle dealer.
Eddie Belfour and Tony Amade, the collision on the 2-on-1. Chris Chelios gets tied up by Randy Gillick. That creates the 2-on-1. Keith Tkachuk and Ty Domi. Gary Suter's back. Amade's trying to get back. The pass. Domi misses the net, but Amade goes crashing into Belfour. Belfour was shaken up on the play. Domi has it on his forehand, but it's in tight to his skates. And he couldn't get his arms out and extend it so he could direct it towards the net.
Eagles against Shans in a face-off. Now the Hawks come up with it, and with it is Dubinsky. Moves to center ice, pumps it into the jet zone. Cheveldae shovels it around. Chance trying to put it in deep. Now Dubinsky has it. Slides it behind the goal, and with it is Dave Manson. Manson doesn't get it out. It's kept in by Graham. Over to Chance. Backhand. Cheveldae save. Eagles goes after the rebound. Puts it over along the boards. Graham with it now. Graham against Quintal. Puck goes free, and Domi starts away. Domi and Quintal 2-on-1. Here's Domi in over the line. Looking for Quintal. And the pass was blocked by Smith. Starting back is Shantz. Shantz gets to center with Graham. Up to the jet line. Graham tried to hide it and go through Manson, but Manson played the man. Now Quintal with it. Here's Quintal's pass, left side to King. King to Emerson. Emerson over the line, lets it go. Delfer grabs and holds with Domi moving in quickly.
Some good pressure by Ty Domi on the 2-on-1 with Stepan Quintal. The Jets' defense are jumping up into the play. Stepan Quintal jumps up. Steve Smith back and plays it very well. Waits, gets Domi off to the angle and forces Domi to try the pass through his feet.
Tony Amade will be with Gene Principe in the upcoming intervention. We'll also have a news update and Dirt Devil trivia. The next home game is Friday against the Vancouver Canucks. Now 780 seat to pick up your tickets. Here's Chelios. Dumps it in wide of the jet goal. After it, Trevor Kravtsov. Now Sutter follows up. Sutter again, Shannon. Craven back to the blue line. Here's Sutter. He's got room. Moving in. Sutter centers it. Backhand. And Tkachuk wound up with it. Here's Tkachuk with Solani. The pass broken up by Chris Chelios. Great defensive play by Chelios to turn around and knock that pass away. Here's Sutter. Gets it now to Craven. He dumps it into the jet zone. Back forward is Daryl Shannon. Behind the net, Shannon to Wilkinson. Wilkinson to Solani. Solani's pass, that's broken up. Shannon to Emerson. He fires a bouncer, and back with it is Weinrich. Weinrich a pass intended for Amante, too far. It goes all the way down. Back is Dumoulin, and it's icing Chicago.
Blackhawks taking some chances. Terry Simpson has his team playing a very aggressive game. They played pretty well in their own zone, something they didn't do on their road trip, playing with some discipline, and that's another thing the Jets haven't been doing much of. And it's great to see Randy Carlyle and his enthusiasm behind the bench. That's one thing that Randy Carlyle, the love for the game, it's infectious. You watch him play, you play against him, and you can see how much he enjoys the competition.
Puck is in behind the Chicago goal. With it there is Korolev. Korolev trying to free it now from the skates of Smith. Now Drake goes after it with Weinrich. They spin each other around. Nichols is there, so is Korolev. Korolev manages to win the battle, takes it behind the net. Now Nichols grabs onto him. Drake pokes into the corner. Amande is there, but again it's Korolev. Now Drake joins in. Drake knocked down by Nichols. And the puck is cleared away by Amande. Back forward is Teppo Numminen. Just over 5 minutes left in the second period. The Jets lead the Hawks 2-1. Korolev, a pass for Numminen. He's got room on the right side. Gets in across the line. Dropped it to Drake. Drake is forced by Amande. Now Shamnov digs it out. Slides it behind the net. Weinrich is there. Around for Amande. Amante's pass to Smith. Smith pass picked up. Here comes Shamnov. Shamnov gets to the line. Amante took it from him. Shamnov takes it back. But play has been called. The Jets are offside.
April 7th and 8th at the Winnipeg Convention Center, the Computer Expo 95 will launch you into the future. Warp your way to the world of the Internet and explore the Super Information Highway. Experience exciting shows and surprise guest presentations. Special interest for business computing and entertainment for children of all ages. Friday, April 7th, noon until 9. Saturday, April 8th, 10 until 8 at the Winnipeg Convention Center, the Computer Expo 95. Not just a show, an event.
Winnipeg Jets' last 10 games, nothing to write home about, obviously, but especially the last 3. A 4-1 lead in San Jose disappears, goes into a 6-5 loss. A 7-5 lead with less than 10 minutes left in L.A., and that ends up in a tie. And yet the Jets are still within contact of everybody else, game in hand at only 6 points behind Dallas.
2-1 the lead the Jets have here in the second period. Now King hit by Davinsky. Quintal grabs the puck. Dumps it down into the Chicago zone. Melfer around for Graham. Graham is hit by King. King's been hitting everything in sight. And the Hawks have been returning the favor. Now Gillen trying to dump it in. Quintal puts it in deep. Johansson chops at it. Graham trying to clear. Quintal moves in. Dubinsky takes him out of the play. And Dubinsky slides it ahead to Shantz. With Graham. Has to go to the outside. Manson gets him out of the way. With it now Quintal. Tried it for King. Puck is along the boards. King kicks at it. Craven is on top of it. Now King and Graham. King has every Chicago Blackhawk going after him at every opportunity because of the heavy hitting he's done tonight.
And Ty Domi came in to protect Chris King as the Hawks were swarming. Dirk Graham and Murray Craven in the corner. Chris King, Stefan Quintel, who has a hold of whose stick, Quintel and Murray Craven. Craven's down, decides he'll take the whistle. King jabs away. Graham and Quintel, and then Murray Craven comes in. Knocks King down, grabs a hold of Quintel's stick, you can see, and then Quintel grabs a hold of Craven's stick. A whistle, little pushing and shoving. No penalties called by referee Bill McCreary, but the face-off comes outside the blue line. A lot of the shorter haircuts making the rounds now. Pavel Bure will be here Friday night. He's got the buzz cut like Chris King now.
Well, Chris King's got his own TV show.
That's right. That's
He'll
right.
probably shave tomorrow.
I don't know whether I want to go. Mine's pretty gray and getting a little sparse. It looks like Randy Carlisle's. I don't really want to get mine cut that short. Might never come back.
Now the Jets dump it all the way down the ice. 3:48 left in the second period. The Jets lead the Hawks 2-1. Chelios to Suter. He moves to center ice. Both clubs at full strength. It's coming in. Craven goes after it. Craven behind centers. And Quintal is there to knock it away. Suter back for it. Suter, checked by Solani. Up for Emerson at the goal post. Emerson pass back to the blue line. Went outside. And it's offside. But a giveaway by Suter to Solani, and Emerson hit the post.
Gary Suter doesn't see Teemu Solani. The back pass, Solani to Emerson. The shot goes through Belfour and hits the goalpost. Belfour had no idea where the net was. The quick giveaway, the one-time shot, Belfour just comes across, has no idea where the net is. It goes through him, off the post, and stays out.
2-1, the Jets lead. 3:25 left in the second. With it is Tempo Numminen. He dumps it into the Hawks zone. Back for it goes Chelios. Drake moves in against him and runs into Chelios. Now with it is Nichols. He gives to Chelios at center. His pass to Amade. Amade fakes it. Now trying to work in behind. He does. Chelios is in front of the pass. In front of Nichols. Couldn't get the handle. Then Nichols centers again. Numminen with it. Great opportunity for Nichols. Then went for naught. But now I believe there's going to be a penalty against the Winnipeg Jets.
An interference penalty against the Jets on Chris Chelios. Bernie Nichols ends up keeping this one out himself. Shoots it at the net, tries to get it back, and keeps it out. The cool check on Chris Chelios in front, and he ends up taking the interference penalty. And the Hawks are back on the power play. Chelios is in front. He led the rush and then stays there. Nichols misses a chance, and Mikulchek takes Chelios into the net after the play has gone the other direction. And that's interference.
Chelios has been hit a couple of times earlier in that shift. Dallas Drake knocked him down.
On the forecheck, the Jets have done a good job on Chelios. They've hit him at every opportunity. Scar there on his mouth. Chris King hit him earlier, had him down. Drake, he plays so much, you have to try and wear him down, and the Jets have been doing a good job taking the body.
Chelios is out of the power play. Bernie Nichols, Tony Amade, Gary Suter, Joe Murphy. Jets have Gillen and Eagles, Wilkinson and Numminen. Eagles swats at it a second time, and this does manage to dump it all the way down. Back to get it is Suter. 2-1, the Jets lead. The Hawks with a man advantage late in the second period. Suter comes up, gets the pass to center ice to Nichols. Nichols gets to the Jet line, puts it over, but it's offside.
Bernie Nichols put himself offside. The New Jersey Devils power play is 25th in the league out of 26 teams, and one of the reasons they attributed that is Bernie Nichols fled the coop, signed with the Chicago Blackhawks as a free agent. Their power play was fairly dismal last year, and now first in the NHL. Great puck handler and smart with the puck. Talking things over on the bench.
Best free agent signing in the league this year?
I would say so, and maybe the comeback player of the year. After a year where his point production was well down last year, Bernie Nichols has bounced back.
Here's Suter back in his own line. Dropped it off to Chelios. His pass broken up by Quintal. And with it is Suter again. His pass to Craven this time. Craven looks for Krivakrazov. Quintal managed to knock it away, and it's offside against the Blackhawks.
Murray Craven signed with the Chicago Blackhawks before the league ruling on what the average salary was in the NHL, and got a $1 million contract. Went from $560,000 with the Vancouver Canucks. And a guy who's been around as long as Murray Craven, 10 years in the league before he made over $300,000. Paid his dues, and he says this is probably his last contract, and he's quite happy to cash in, and held out on the Canucks, but is making more money than he would have made in 2 years with Vancouver.
Here's Suter, goes back to get it for Chicago. 1:14 left in the penalty to the Winnipeg Jets. As Suter comes out to center ice, hits Amade with a pass. Amade goes to the outside. Chased by Kachuk, gives it to Chelios. Puts it in behind the net. Now Nichols in the corner. Back to the point, Suter. Suter puts it in deep. With it there is Murphy. Murphy against Quintal. Murphy looked in front of Amade. Amade is knocked down by Manson. Now with it is Nichols. Nichols gets it into Murphy. Murphy shot wide. Here's Suter. Suter missed it, and Emerson takes it away for Winnipeg. Chelios after Emerson. Emerson trying to cut it back, and Bill for the save. Emerson gets it again. He tried to center. It goes down to Kachuk. Tried it for Quintal, and it goes out to center. Manson puts it into the Hawk zone, and with it is Chelios. A hit for Amade. Fires it into the Jets on Chevelday with 15 seconds left in that penalty to McCoolcheck. Gets it to Gillen. He dumps it away.
How many guys in the league could catch Nelson Emerson after a half a step? That was Chris Chelios able to catch Emerson, force him wide.
With it now is Wilkinson. Wilkinson dumps it all the way down the ice. The penalty is over. We're into the last minute of the second period. 2-1. The Jets lead the Hawks. Both clubs at full strength. Now Johansson at center. Puts it into Jet territory. Dubinsky shot. Knocked away by Chevelday. Here's Dubinsky with it again. He centers and Gillen with it. Gillen flips it way up. He comes down at the Hawk line, and with it is Shans. To center ice, Graham circles back into his own zone. Here comes Dirk Graham. Gets to center, trying to weave his way through. Domi takes it away. Domi with King. Here's Domi trying to throw it in front, and Dubinsky has it. Dubinsky moves to center, gets it up to the Jet line. Newman and sends it back. Smith puts it into his own zone. 10 seconds in a period. Weinrich stopped by Manson to Weinrich. Gets it over. Smith ahead now to Dubinsky. Dubinsky lays for Krivakrazov, and the opening close. So did the period.
Carmen, Manitoba. I wonder how many tickets Eddie Belfour had to buy for this game here in Winnipeg, and he's keeping his team close. The Jets have done a good job forcing the Chicago Blackhawks in the neutral zone, especially on their last power play. Kept them out over the blue line, and have had a couple of goalposts. The Jets have on Eddie Belfour. He's had the goaltender's best friend going, but they trail after two.
Tony Amade has the lone goal for the Chicago Blackhawks, and he'll be Gene Principe's guest in the upcoming intermission. The score after two, the Jets 2, the Hawks 1.
At Midway, there's no problem. Price is too high? No problem. We'll beat any dealer's best price guaranteed. No cash? No problem. Pay nothing down and make no payments for up to 120 days. Credit trouble? No problem. No credit application will be refused. Hurry to Midway Chrysler, 730 Portage Avenue.
Annual weeds. You may not see them in your direct seeded or reduced tillage fields, but they're there. You may not think they can get ahead of your crop, but they can. You may not think you need to treat them before you seed, but you do. Now you can control a broad spectrum of annual weeds, plus quackgrass for only $8.95 a liter with Roundup herbicide. If you've only got annual weeds, it's under $4.50 an acre.
Play Safeway's Score and Win. With a Jet Score, you could win an ASD Advantage desktop computer, the gourmet collection of fine kitchen appliances from Sultan, a Polaroid Captiva instant camera, or $300 in MasterCard traveler's checks from the Bank of Montreal. You could also win a trip for two to Mazatlan, Mexico, courtesy of Canadian Holidays. Safeway's participating products, Hershey and Lowney candy bars, also Kraft dinner. Score and win at Safeway, today's better way.
I'd climb anything and everything. I used to drive my mother up the wall.
For people who put a little extra into everything they do.
I think extra's the best. It never seems to quit.
No other gum keeps on delivering fresh flavor longer than Extra.
Extra stays with me all the way.
Only Extra has our special time-release formula, so it keeps on tasting fresh.
As long as I want it to.
Sugar-free Extra with long-lasting flavor.
For me, it's fresh taste that never quits.
He's television's most desperate bachelor.
Do you want to have sex right now? Do you want to have sex with me?
He's honest.
I'm an architect.
He's aware of his shortcomings.
You mean shrink it? Yes.
Seinfeld. Thursday at 8 on CKND Winnipeg TV.
After 20 minutes, the Jets led by a goal, and after 40 minutes, they also lead by a goal. Alexei Zhamnov with the one for the Jets. And replying for the Chicago Blackhawks was Tony Amonte, and it came on a power play. Puck would come out to Gary Suter. They would wrap it along the boards. Along the boards would be Joe Murphy, and Tony Amonte would eventually get the puck with some help from Eric Weinrich, and Amonte would just sit, wait, and then would blast the puck when he gets it back from Murphy to put this one at a tie. At this point, Alexei Zhamnov added another one, so after two periods, it is the Jets by one. And Tony, some thoughts on the first period, or rather the second period, and that goal? You're first.
It's just a power play for us, and we want to get the shots to the net, and basically that's what we've been doing, just trying to get the puck to the net and get to the rebound, because things haven't been working too well for us in the PP as of late.
From a personal and professional standpoint, the loss of Jeremy Roenick, one of your best friends and your centerman.
Oh, it's just it's a tremendous blow to this team, but I think everybody's trying to pick up their level of play, and it's tough to make up for a guy like that on the ice and off the ice. He was a leader, all around the locker room. He was a guy everybody looked up to. So, for this team, everybody's going to have to pick up the play, another level for us to be successful.
You seem to be using Jeff Shantz as your centerman now. Does that change your style at all or not?
A little bit. Jeff's not going to carry the puck as much as JR did. JR really liked to carry the puck up the ice and make everything happen. So now for me, it's going to be carrying the puck myself a little more, and just me and Jeff trying to use each other as well as we can. Going into the night, you had 26 points, 16 on the road. Is the United Center not friendly to you, or just coincidence? I had some bad luck there, and I know JR did also, but we're just trying to get things going, and we've had a little trouble playing in the United Center, but we're going to get things going. Coming down the stretch here, I think we got 10 games left at home, so we got to get things working at home.
Well, thank you to Tony Amonte, our intermission guest. Best of luck the rest of the way. Up next is the CKND News Update as well. We'll have our Dirt Devil Trivia. Tony Amonte, with his 11th goal, tied the game up. Alexei Zhamnov got his 23rd, and the Jets, after 40 minutes of play, lead the Chicago Blackhawks 2-1.
We need a change in government in Manitoba, because Manitobans are being sold on gambling by their own government. That's wrong. A Liberal government will immediately stop all advertising of gambling and deal with the real human cost that all of this promotion has created. We need real job growth in Manitoba, not more VLTs. That's our priority.
Vote for a new start. On April 25th, vote Liberal.
Seeing is believing at your Ski-Doo dealer during Spring Break 96. Buy now and get up to $500 cash towards a new 96 Ski-Doo snowmobile with no payments until February 1, 1996. Plus, get special low Spring Break pricing. Spring Break 96. See the sleds, see the deals, see your participating Ski-Doo dealer for details before it's all gone. See your Manitoba, Saskatchewan Ski-Doo dealer today, or stop by Spring Tour 96 in Saskatoon at the Wheatland Complex on April 8th and 9th.
Annual weeds. You may not see them in your direct seeded or reduced tillage fields, but they're there. You may not think they can get ahead of your crop, but they can. You may not think you need to treat them before you seed, but you do. Now you can control a broad spectrum of annual weeds, plus quackgrass, for only $8.95 a liter, with Roundup herbicide. If you've only got annual weeds, it's under $4.50 an acre.
GMC Sonoma Cyclone has just touched down at your GMC truck dealers, tearing up the competition with 20% more horsepower than Ranger. This hot-looking Cyclone also comes with AM/FM cassette, 40 15-inch aluminum wheels, and plenty of attitude. All for $13,980. Take them by storm in a Sonoma Cyclone from your Manitoba GMC truck dealers.
Here are some of the stories we're working on for your local news on CKND following Jets hockey at 10:30. Jets hockey fans will be happy to know the federal government is considering coming to the party to the tune of $10 million. Also, the Jets, with their new head coach and new assistant tonight, they're touted to tighten things up a bit in the dressing room. Also tonight, city councilors with a decision on the future of citywide recycling. Manitoba leads the nation with the highest rate of child poverty. CKND's Warren Priest will have a report on that. The winter that left us is back again, but Environment Canada assures us it won't last long. On the national scene, a hiccup in plans for the Quebec referendum. Canada embraces a new fishing agreement with both arms, but Spain has yet to join the celebration. And the gun control law passes second reading, minus the vote from some Liberals. These stories and more tonight at 10:30. And in a few moments, more Jets hockey on CKND, Winnipeg TV.
Gary Philman always said no new taxes, but indirectly, we're paying an additional fee for pharmacare services simply because he's raised the deductible. So that is a form of taxation, absolutely.
Gary Dewar has a plan to rebuild Manitoba's health care by ending cuts to pharmacare and putting back many important drugs that Manitobans need. For health care when you need it, elect Gary Dewar, Premier of Manitoba.
Plumbing problem? Even if you don't know exactly what to call it, if it has to do with plumbing, you can find more of it at, well, you know where. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
Okay, watch closely. This is the new DQ Treats-A Pizza. But it's not a hot eat, it's a cool treat. A treat you eat like pizza. There's fudge, chocolate crunch, soft serve, and your choice of 4 different combinations of toppings. Just $5.99. New frozen DQ Treats-A Pizza. The only pizza that tastes better cold.
Hot eats, cool treats, we treat you right.
Dirt Devil presents Red Hot Trivia, brought to you by the Red Hot family of Dirt Devil vacuums by Royal. Who are the only 3 players to score 50 goals in their rookie season? We'll have the answer right after this.
Sam here is giving me enough good reasons to use my Dirt Devil handbag, but now he's giving me 5 more. When they turn the house upside down, I turn on my Dirt Devil. This powerful revolving brush tears into dirt, chews up crumbs, and picks up pet hair. It has an extra long cord, and it's lightweight. So, I'd say my Dirt Devil is the pick of the litter. Right, Sam? Right. Get a Dirt Devil and put the power of an upright in the palm of your hand.
Who are the only 3 players to score 50 goals in their rookie season? Need a hint? All 3 players won the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year. In 1992-93, this player set a new rookie record, scoring 76 goals and 132 points. Teemu Selanne, known as the Finnish Flash, became the 8th player in NHL history and the only rookie to score 70 goals in a season. The player whose record was broken by Selanne was the first rookie to ever score 50 goals in a season. He was a first-round pick of the New York Islanders in 1977, chosen 15th overall. Mike Bossy was one of the most prolific scorers in NHL history, and in his rookie year of 1977-78, he scored 53 goals, setting a new standard for first-year players. The only other rookie to score 50 goals accomplished the feat with the Calgary Flames. He holds the Flames' all-time record for most points by a rookie with 92. Joe Nieuwendyk has scored 50 goals in a season twice the first time in 1988, his rookie year.
With a rebound, Nieuwendyk scores! Joe Nieuwendyk, goal number 50!
Teemu Selanne, Mike Bossy, and Joe Nieuwendyk, the only three players to score 50 goals in their rookie season. Another Red Hot trivia, brought to you by the Red Hot family of Dirt Devil vacuums by Royal.
A promotional consideration has been paid by the following.
No matter what you drive, and no matter when you drive it, from extreme cold to extreme heat, count on Delco batteries. Dependable power.
Tonight's second period NHL update is brought to you by MTS. So look around the rest of the action tonight in the National Hockey League. A bit of a surprise. Just up from the minors, Igor Chibarev has Hartford on their way to a victory over Pittsburgh. New Jersey and Ottawa, Martin Brodeur made 21 saves for the shutout, and the Devils record the victory. Owen Nolan is off the score sheet tonight, but Montreal, with Pierre Turgeon in the lineup, records the win over Quebec. The Rangers taking on Florida, and it is a final, and getting the Verbeek got the goal, and also getting the shutout was Mike Richter. Elsewhere, St. Louis over Toronto, the Leafs with 3 ties in their last 8 games. They'd love a tie again this evening. Shane Corson will not be the captain tonight, as Edmonton is in Anaheim, and the Detroit Red Wings only 1 loss in their last 13 games. You are now up to date around the NHL, courtesy of MTS. And now upstairs, we'll check in with Rona Garrett for the trade gossip.
The trade gossip. Dateline Winnipeg. 2 days left, Gary. You were traded at the trading deadline one time. Do you think the Jets will make a major move or try and do something before Friday?
Well, I'm not sure if they'll make a major move, but I do feel that a major move is necessary to improve this club. Right now, I think, if I can put my GM cap on for a second, they've got 3 $2 million forwards in Jamnov, Kachuk, and Selanne. But they're really lacking a strong, mobile defenseman, and I think there's one of those guys that, they could package him up, send him off, and get a $2 million defenseman in return. Who that would be, I don't know. It's a very difficult move to make, but it's one of those things I think would fill a huge hole on this club and make it a much better hockey club.
Well, let's get more specific now. Okay, you say one of the 3. Right now, the way it's going, you keep Kachuk and Jamnov and Teemu the most marketable of the 3, or...
Well, that's a possibility. Selanne, I've heard a rumor going around, something like, for instance, Emerson and Selanne for Nedved and Zubov. You're getting Zubov, who's a real up-and-coming, strong, good mobile defenseman, did a great job with New York in the playoffs last year, could come here and fill that hole that Winnipeg needs. But does Winnipeg want to give up a player like Selanne? He does so much for the hockey team, does so much for the city, great character player, real tough guy to lose. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the guy that would have to trade one of those guys away, and lucky for me, I don't have that position.
We don't have to put on our GM's caps. Well, thank you very much again, Kerry. And I don't know whether that trade, they'll do that, but the Rangers are one team that could afford to get rid of Sergei Zubov. Thank you very much, and we'll be back with third period action on CKND, Winnipeg TV.
To help reduce pollution in the air, Brian McDermott drives on Mohawk's cleaner-burning, ethanol-blended gasoline made with prairie grain. That is, when it's his turn to drive. Mohawk, Mother Nature's gas station.
Today's hockey trivia. Why do the Jets like their Jeep?
Последний раз стала новая Audi Jeep Eagle. Мне нравится ездить в машине Jeep Eagle, потому что это лучшая машина в этом городе.
Bonjour, ici Stéphane Quintal. J'aime mon Jeep parce que ce véhicule-là, c'est un dur à cuire.
Some of the guys even find my accent hard to understand. But no matter what language you use, Winnipeg Jeep Eagle has the best service, the best product, and the lowest rates in town.
Winnipeg Jeep Eagle, Manitoba's largest volume Jeep Eagle dealership. 1430 Ellis, just a slap shot from the arena.
Molson Jets Hockey on CKND is brought to you in part by Reimer Express, Park Pontiac Buick GMC, and by Athletes Wear, with 4 Winnipeg locations.
Winnipeg Jets lead it 2-1. The go-ahead goal scored in a 4-on-4 situation by Alexei Zhamnov. Randy Gillen had the lone goal in the first period from King and Domi, a period in which the Jets outshot the Hawks 12-8. Then Amante tied it his 11th from Murphy and Weinrich, and in Zhamnov's 23rd from Manson and Newman. In that second period, the shots on goal favored the Jets. Overall, the Jets have outshot the Hawks 25-18. So the third period gets underway with both clubs at full strength. Jets leading it 2-1. Here's Smith in the corner. Gets it ahead now to Sutter. Sutter moves it to center ice. Stopped there by Quintal. Poked it in. Gillen goes in after. Gillen shot! And the save by Eddie Belfour. So Randy Gillen, who scored earlier, is the opportunist early in the third.
And again, Terry Simpson starting the King, Domi, Gillen line, and they respond. Randy Gillen has a chance, gets out, gets himself onside, has a good chance on Eddie Belfour, and Belfour gets down, out well to cut down the angle to make the save. With Eddie Belfour, you wonder about the backup goaltenders with the Hawks. They picked up Jimmy Waite from San Jose, and you wonder about expansion, whether they want 3 goalies around just for expansion so they can afford to expose one of them in the draft, should that happen in a year or two.
Here's Gary Suter, puts it rink wide to Amante on the move at center. Gains the Jet line, lets it go, and it went wide. Korolev with it for Winnipeg, trying to get it out. He can't. Not the first time, the second time he does. Murphy now puts it right back in. Mikulchik tried it for Newman, and Amante goes after him. Chelios manages to hold it in, but now Zhamnov brings it out to center ice, drop to Drake. Drake gains the line, crisscrosses a second time with Zhamnov. Out for Zhamnov. Zhamnov now into the corner. Ridden off the puck by Suter. With it there, Korolev. Rapp turned it around and dumps it in. Here's Amante. Amante lost it. Drake to Mikulchik. Tried it for Zhamnov. To Korolev. Zhamnov leaves it there for Drake. Drake manages to escape Chelios. Now Drake turns it around. Puts it behind the net to Korolev. Korolev into Zhamnov. Jets have puck control, but not getting any opportunities. Here's Zhamnov. Gives it to Korolev. Korolev in now for Drake to Zhamnov. A shot. And the save by Belfour.
The good goal scorers, every shot the goaltender has to make the save or it goes in the net. Alexei Zhamnov gets in position for the shot. Quick shot, doesn't even look at the net, and yet it's right on, and Eddie Belfour again has to make a good save. Zhamnov doesn't even look. Gets his feet in position for the shot, and then just snaps it. And it's right on, and Eddie Belfour had to be in position and alert to make that save.
Tkachuk is out at center now with Emerson and Solani. Face off to the right of Belfour. A minute and a half into the third period. 2-1, the Jets lead it. Here's Wilkinson, can't contain it at the point. Wilkinson forced by Shans. Now it's picked up by Dubinsky, dumped into the Jets zone. Dubinsky goes after it himself. Now knocks it behind the net. With it now Shans. Chased there by Emerson. Shans falls. Shans against Emerson. Shans kicks at it. Graham is there. Wilkinson too. Wilkinson and Graham. Now Wilkinson boots it. Smith checked by Solani to Emerson. Emerson can't. Well, he does get it up now. It goes to Tkachuk. Tkachuk trying for Solani. Here's Solani trying to move in. Has trouble with it now. Looking back for some help. Takes it to the line. His pass goes to Quintal. Quintal moving in a shot. That went through Belfour and trickled wide. Here's Solani backhand. Belfour knocked it away. Now with it, Johansson. He dumps it to center ice. And Quintal has it now. Gives to Solani. Solani for Tkachuk. Tkachuk with Gillen going to the net. Tkachuk leaves it for Manson. In deep for Gillen. Gillen to Tkachuk. Tkachuk moving in. Here's Tkachuk. He missed the net. Now Gillen goes after it. Behind the net. Solani in the front. Here's Tkachuk. His shot went wide. Sutter and Manson. Jets beating the Hawks to the puck on every opportunity now in the offensive zone. They hold it up.
And the Jets winning the battles along the boards. Roger Johansson has some words with Randy Gillen. Eddie Belfour has been good, and he's been lucky. Stefan Quintal has one go right through his legs, hits the pads.
and slides by. Nelson Emerson had one in the second period. Same sort of situation that hit the post. Teemu Selanne, the backhand off the shaft of Eddie Belfour's stick, and just slid wide of the post. Shots on goal, 29-18, and it's good to see the Jets trying to force the play early here in the third period, not sitting on their lead, going into the defensive shell too soon.
Gillen stays out there now, flanked by Domi and King. Gillen will face off against Sutter. Gives it back to King. Volley shot there by Belfour. To the Hawks, 3 minutes, the third.
Seeing is believing at your Ski-Doo dealer during Spring Break 96. Buy now and get up to $500 cash towards a new 96 Ski-Doo snowmobile with no payments until February 1, 1996. Plus, get special low Spring Break pricing. Spring Break 96. See the sleds, see the deals, see your participating Ski-Doo dealer for details before it's all gone. See your Manitoba, Saskatchewan Ski-Doo dealer today, or stop by Spring Tour 96 in Saskatoon at the Wheatland Complex on April 8th and 9th.
If it doesn't have spirit, it's not worth doing.
Simpson behind the bench along with Randy Carlyle as the Winnipeg Jets lead the Chicago Blackhawks 2-1, 3 minutes into the third period.
Ty Domi and Sergei Krivokrasov have words, and then Chris Chelios gets in. He's talking things over with Dan McCourt.
Gillen and Craven now stand opposite each other in a face-off circle, but Craven decides to take a little circuit tour. Now Gillen wins the draw, back to Quintal. Quintal's shot kicked away by Belfour. Krivokrasov goes back to get it. Now hands it off to center ice Craven. He dropped it to Suter. Gets over the jet line. A shot. Shoveled in a save. And he holds on as Quintal stands guard.
Jets defense back in, and a good save by Tim Shovelday. Prepared and set early. Murray Craven, nice little back pass. Dave Manson gets trapped up. The defense back in. Gary Suter with the shot. Shovelday well out. Set very early. And makes the save, controls the rebound. Stefan Cattell lets it go. He knows his goaltender won't let it in from that distance. Shovelday with the save.
So Sutter between Krivokrasov and Craven to the left of Shovelday. Sutter against Gillen. 2-1 the Jets lead. 3:17 into the third. Here's Manson. Sends the lead pass to King. King one man back. He's Chelios. Here King cuts up with it backhand. Save. It's put out in front, and with it is Suter. Suter puts it back behind his net. Now Craven goes for it. Craven approached by Domi. It goes to Suter. Suter's pass to Sutter. It's sent down into Jet territory, and with it there, Stefan Quintal. To King. King run into by Amante. Now Nichols trying to put it in. He can't. Here's Yemnov to Drake. Drake gets over the Chicago line, looks for help. Ridden off now, dumped in by Korolev, and going to get it is Smith. Smith's pass that goes to Amante, rink wide to Murphy at center with Nichols. Here's Murphy, puts it back. Amante's shot, Shovelday save. Amante behind the net. With it is Nichols. Nichols gives to Amante. Amante takes a look. Murphy's in front. Tried it for Nichols. Here's Amante moving it to Murphy. Alone in front. And the save by Shovelday.
A lot of the fans here at the Winnipeg Arena thought that was offside on the rush. And the Hawks have a good scoring chance on the play that I thought was offside. Joe Murphy takes too long, and he lets Tim Shovelday recover. Shovelday's down, out, then he recovers. Gets set, gets the left hand out. Alexei Zhamnov's in behind his goaltender. I thought this was offside. Many of the people here, Bernie Nichols on the right side, a stride offside. Dan McCourt and Mark Perry missed that one.
2-1, the Jets lead. 4.5 into the third. Face-off to the left of the Jet goal. It goes out to center ice, and with it there is Weinrich. Tried it for Amante. He gives to Nichols, who gains the line. Nichols to Murphy. Murphy finds a trailer. Weinrich, he shot! And Shovelday pulls that one in.
McCulchuk, a good job on Tony Amante in front of the net, letting Tim Shovelday see this. The Chicago Blackhawks starting to pick up their game offensively. Weinrich ends up with a shot from the point through a maze. McCulchuk knocks Amante down. And that allows Tim Shovelday the sight lines so that he can see the long wrist shot by Weinrich. He's just trying to get it through. He does that, and Shovelday sees it all the way. He gets the left hand out to make the save.
Tkachuk comes out opposite chance for the face-off left of Shovelday. Graham now leaves it along the boards. Dubinsky trying to work it in front. Tkachuk is there. Dubinsky against Tkachuk. Knocked in behind Graham and Shannon. Chelios puts it behind the net. Graham against Shannon. Dubinsky moves in as well. Now Graham comes up with it. Graham slides it in front. And Shovelday shovels it over to Tkachuk, who flips it out to center and beyond. Back to get it to Suter. To Dubinsky by him. Tkachuk moves up the wing. Here's Tkachuk. It's over the line. Dubinsky stays with him. Tkachuk trying it for Emerson. And the Hawks start back. Here's Graham. Looks for Chelios. Broken up by Darryl Shannon. His pass too far for Tkachuk. Back to get it to Suter. Suter to Chelios. Dumped in. After it goes Craven. Shovelday saw it. Moved around. Now stopped by Sutter. Puts in behind the net. Craven. Back to the point. Chelios shot. Saved by Shovelday. Sutter's shot. Kicked away. Sutter gets it again. He throws it out in front. Chelios knocked down by King. King puts it ahead. Here's Solani with Emerson. The pass. Emerson alone. He's right back in. The save by Belfer. The second time he's robbed Emerson. In alone tonight.
Nice play by Chris King to get that puck up to Teemu Solani to set up the 2-on-1. Pass by Sutter is deflected, and Chris King stretches out over Chris Chelios to tip it to Teemu Solani. Creates a 2-on-1. Touch pass past Steve Smith. Emerson's in all alone. Fakes goes the backhand. Belfour stayed right with him. Patience of a goaltender. Ed Belfour waits for Emerson to make the move. Fakes the shot. The goaltender waits. Belfour goes down, makes the save.
6 minutes gone in the third period.
Then the big hit, Dirk Graham on Nelson Emerson. Emerson was still watching that puck. Graham made him pay the price.
2-1, the Jets lead. Face-off to the right of Belfour. Yellen wins the draw again, this time to Domi. Domi shot is blocked. It goes into the corner with it is Smith. Gives it right to Domi. In front, Gillen. And his stick lifted, and Smith starts away. 4-on-3 to center to Sutter. He gets it over to Craven, moving in. His shot went wide. Now Gillen knocks it away. Dive Domi all by himself. He's got all night. Here he goes. He scores! Chances every time they've been on the ice tonight. Ty Domi goes in, takes a look, fakes the shot, and goes around Ed Belfour. Domi looked like
like a goal scorer on that play. Looked up, saw the goaltender, faked the wrist shot, pulled it by Ed Belfour.
Domi from Gillen, the scoring play for Domi, his 4th of the year. At the 6:20 mark. And our next lucky winner in our score and win contest is John Lescue of Winnipeg. John entered Score and Win It Safeway along with a proof of purchase from Campbell's Chunky Soup. Congratulations, you've won a GE Space Maker 2 microwave oven.
Murray Craven takes a wrist shot that just misses. It was a 4-on-2. They pinch in, and now it's a 2-0 breakaway. Ty Domi with Chris King, the follower. Domi goes right around Belfour. Made no mistake.
Jets lead at 3-1, almost 7 minutes into the third period. Suter goes back into his own zone to get it for Chicago. Jets looking to snap a 10-game winless string. The Hawks, in turn, are winless in 4.
Gary Suter looking around, hoping that faceoff comes outside, but it's not going to. Ty Domi on that breakaway looked like a goal scorer, but he doesn't look like a goal scorer after it goes in. Sitting on his backside with the arms up, looking around for somebody to come over and congratulate. They're good goal scorers. They have that stick up, halfway up, pumping in the air, down a couple of shooting motions or something.
Jamnov wins the draw back to Makulchek. A shot, and Suter has it for Chicago. Suter chased back by Jamnov. Takes it behind the net. Tried it around for Amade. Drake kicked it away. In with it now is Jamnov. Jamnov to Korolev, and it's offside. This is your Molson Dry telecast.
I've always wanted to have a sports car. The red of the Supreme and the black interior, I just said, that's me. The ABS braking system, the dual airbags, that's an incredibly important feature. I think you're getting an awful lot of car for your money with a Cutlass Supreme. It's a great way to have a midlife crisis.
Demand better. Demand Oldsmobile from your Manitoba Chevrolet Geo Oldsmobile dealers.
Judy? Yes? Did you know that 27% of Canadian women with ass would choose chocolate over sex? So? Well, I was thinking it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah?
What are the chances that you'll be having sex in the next minute or so?
Pretty slim.
Well, that's what I thought. So I vote for Chocolaires.
Really?
Give it to me, baby.
Chocolaires, with whipped chocolatey filling between light, crispy wafers and covered with milk chocolate. For that 3 o'clock craving that can't be ignored.
Oh, Judy, that was great. Was it good for you?
Hey, numbers don't lie.
On your screen, the winning program numbers in tonight's Winnipeg Jets Special Edition lineup program giveaway. If you have a winning number, take your program to the Jets office during business hours to claim your prize. The Special Edition lineup brought to you by the Winnipeg Jets, the Winnipeg Sun, and CKND Winnipeg TV. We'll put those up on the screen a little bit later on in this third period. The Jets lead it 3-1. 7 minutes into the third. Jamnov was one of the goals. Is out with Korolev and Drake. Nichols is out with Amade and Murphy. Now the puck in the Jet zone. It's dumped at the net, picked up by Makulchek. He's checked with Chelios. It goes screen out of Drake. Drake sends it out to center. With it is Korolev. 2-on-2 is Jamnov. Korolev dropped it off to Jamnov. He shot over top. Now with it at the point is Newman. Gives to Korolev. Puts it in behind the net. Melfer is there. Drake goes in after him. Nichols gets it for Chicago. Sends it rink wide to Amade. Amade gets over the line. His shot. Shoveled in the save. Newman sends the rebound all the way down the ice. Melfer gives it to Chelios. Chelios moves to the jet line. Long shot. Shoveled in. Dropped in and almost threw it into his own goal. Here's Emerson. And had he done so, that would have epitomized what's happened to the Jets recently. Here's Chelios at center. He gets it over to Shins. Shins trying to work in. Wilkinson goes after it. Puck knocked behind the net. With it there is Emerson. Emerson dumps it all the way down the ice. And going back forward is Smith. Did you ever throw the puck into your own net?
Yes, I have, but the gloves are much bigger than I didn't have as much of an excuse as Tim Shovelday. The catching gloves now are so big, and there's so much protection that you can't feel the puck. this long shot handled easily by Shovelday, and he goes to throw it out. And not very often you can throw it behind. It catches in the webbing, and he almost throws it in his own net. He looks at his glove. You have to do that after you make a play like that. Shovelday doesn't throw it forward, tries to throw it backward. It catches in the webbing, and that's why you build up those snowbanks beside the post. Make sure that the puck doesn't slide off the post and in.
Build a little fort. 11,334 the attendance at the Winnipeg Arena tonight. Good portion of them from Carmen. Kachuk and Shands face off. Big night at the Iroquois Arena tomorrow night. Winkler and Winnipeg South in Game 2 of their Manitoba Junior League playoff. Winkler won the first game last night. Here's Weinrich. Check. Gillen gets it ahead now to Kachuk at center ice. Kachuk up to the Hawk line, dumps it in, and back to get it is Weinrich. Takes it behind his goal. 8.5 gone in the third. The Jets lead the Hawks 3-1. Here's Smith with it. Veteran Steve Smith gets it ahead to veteran Dirk Graham. He puts it over now, and with it is Weinrich at center ice. Up to the Jet line, trying to get by, but Shannon got him off. Now with it is Emerson, can't get it by. Here's Smith, shot off the blocker of Shovelday, and out of play.
Nelson Emerson threw that puck around. There was no winger there. Steve Smith with the long shot. Daryl Shannon does a good job, stands Eric Weinrich up, gets the hip out. Weinrich looking for a penalty. None. Good, clean, solid hip check by Daryl Shannon. Lots of action out of town. Eastern Division, the Montreal Canadiens, after the big trade. Hartford in Pittsburgh beat the Penguins 8-4. New Jersey shuts out the Ottawa Senators. At least the Senators kept the score down. Pierre Turgeon with a goal and 2 assists. His new team. Rangers shut out the Florida Panthers in Florida. And St. Louis beat Toronto in back-to-back games. Edmonton and Anaheim just getting underway, as is Detroit and San Jose on that flood-out game. They switched games, and Detroit is playing their flood-out game in San Jose tonight.
Now with it is Chelios in his own zone. Nearing the midway mark of the third period. 3-1. The Jets lead. Is Chelios to Craven, stopped by Gillen. Randy Gillen's had himself a whale of a game tonight. It's dumped into the Jets zone. With it is Manson. Manson puts it around to Domi. Domi back for Manson. Manson chased there by Craven. Now ahead to Domi. Domi's pass, rink wide, too far for King. Chelios fires it back in, and going to get it is Manson. Manson trying to clear. It goes to center. Here's Chris King with it. King ahead for Domi. Domi gains the line. Domi trying to cut at the net. Centers it. Just wide of Gillen. Here's Quintal. Puts it in behind the net. Domi with it there. Domi leaves it. Chelios ahead for Krivakrazov. It goes to Craven. Craven moves to center. Jumps it in. Korolev with it. Manson had a battle behind the play with Craven. And now the Jets. Drake can't get out. It goes to Korolev. His pass to Shemnov. One man back. Shemnov kicks at it. Here's Shemnov. Weinrich takes him out of the play. Drake goes after it. Nichols moves in against him. Drake wins that one. Drake comes up with it. Back down to McCoolchick. McCoolchick hit by Amate. Here's Drake. Drake trying to drag it in. Back goes to the blue line. Newman and shot. No for save. Rebound in front. Swatted at. And the Hawks dump it out to center. McCoolchick to Drake. Dumped in. Korolev after it, along with Weinrich. Jemnov, Nichols. It goes to Murphy. Checked by Newman. Jemnov to Drake. Drake will run into. Drake tied up by Smith. Jemnov manages to free it from an abandoned stick. Now McCoolchick gets it to Drake. Drake spins around. Nichols comes up with it. And the Hawks finally able to take it out of their own zone. Weinrich gets to center and goes for a break. Newman and back for Winnipeg. The center, Emerson. That goes all the way down. Solani flies in after it. Solani trying to work it out. Chelios has it. Emerson. And Chelios are there. Kachuk joins in. It goes to the other side. Kachuk will meet Suter. And the puck is sent out. And back to get it is Shannon. Jets in control. They lead it 3-1. 8:17 left in the third period. Here's Chelios. Puts it ahead. And Davinsky dumps into the Jet zone. Back forward is Wilkinson. Champ took it from him. Gives to Davinsky. Out front. Graham shot. That was blocked by Shannon. And now Emerson moves his way quickly to center. Gains the line back to Solani. Solani back for Emerson. He's chipped in front. Kachuk goes after it. Knocked away before he got there. Now with it is Suter. Suter trying to get by Manson. He does. Suter cuts out the net. And he couldn't get the shot away. Good effort by Suter, but he couldn't get it away when he wanted to. Here's Emerson.
Good job by Tim Cheveldae to wait on Suter, make him go wide, and by the time he cut all the way across, lost control of the puck.
Here's Krasov trying to work his way through, does get to center to the Jet line, goes to the outside, looks back, spots Weinrich, a shot, Cheveldae down, and he smothers it. Good action, 3-1, the Jets lead, 7:15 left.
Highs today will be in the mid-80s, so remember the sunscreen, folks, because the old ozone, it's in rough shape.
That's why Trident prevents holes in teeth by up to 62%.
Trident is good.
Holes are bad. But Trident is recognized by the Canadian Dental Association. Trident is good.
Reveal the deal, 10 or maybe 30% off new spring fashions.
Both goalies have played very well, but it's been Ed Belfour who's been left alone more than Tim Cheveldae tonight. The Jets have had a couple of breakaways. Nelson Emerson has had two himself. Ty Domi scored on one. They've left Ed Belfour by himself, and Tim Cheveldae has made the good saves, but he's always had some help, and there's been no rebound shots on Tim Cheveldae.
7:15 left in the third. 3-1 Jets face off to the left of Cheveldae. Krasov against Manson. Now Craven digs it out. Trying to work in front. A shot. They bang away. Sutter at the side of the net. Gillen takes it now. Puts it around. It's stopped at the point by Weinrich. He gives to Craven. Craven at center. Hands it to Steve Smith. He puts it around the glass. It is Jet territory. Sutter against Gillen. Manson has it. And he dumps it all the way out to center. Smith is there. Smith is hit by Eagles. Quintal takes it behind. Quintal tried it for King. Now it goes to Gillen. Gillen stopped by Weinrich. It goes to Domi. Dumped into the Hawk zone. Milfer lets it go to the corner. And back forward is Amate. Amate run into by Domi. This line of King, Domi, and Gillen has really led the Jets tonight. The puck is back at the Hawks line. With it is Smith. Smith moves it in, dumps it down deep. Newman is there against Horacek. Jamnov with it. Around for Drake. Drake manages to free himself of Amate. Gives it to Korolev. Korolev gets in across the line. Looks in front for Jamnov. He scores!
Hit. Cutting across the middle. Dallas Drake does a good job. Gets around Tony Amate to start this play. Korolev has it. Jamnov goes around his check. Horacek has the shot right through Dallas Drake's feet. And Bernie Nichols comes across and hits Jamnov after the shot. Korolev touch pass to Jamnov, who got right away from Tony Horacek, and then just quick wrist shot right through Eddie Belfour. And Bernie Nichols finished the check after the shot. So the Jets take a 4-1 lead.
on the score on Win. Winnipeg scores. So does Ms. Angela Froze of Winnipeg, by including a Hershey chocolate bar, proof of purchase, and entering score on Win at Safeway. Angela has won a Mikasa 20-piece dinnerware set.
Alexei Zhamnov with his second goal of the night, considered for the Molson 3 Stars. And he looks to be all right, skating off the ice under his own steam.
Zhamnov is sitting at the end of the bench, and he's being talked to by the Jet Athletic therapist, Phil Walker.
McCoolchek is in the penalty box, and it looks like the Hawks will go on the power play.
So Oleg McCoolchek, and goal by Zhamnov, is 24th of the year. On a hat trick contest, if any Winnipeg Jet gets a hat trick, a lucky Safely shopper will win a Canadian Holidays trip or two to Mazatlan. And of course, Alexei Zhamnov has a couple. Here come the Hawks. Chelios is center, dumps it in. It goes to the corner. Horacek is there. Puts it behind now to Nichols. Nichols with it. Puts it in Dave Wilkinson, back for Winnipeg. Wilkinson can't get it by Suter. Now it's dumped up by Numanen. Tkachuk goes after it. Tkachuk with Chelios. Tkachuk just dumps it in deep. And with it is Suter. Suter comes to center. Gets up to the Jet line. Puts it over. Here's Horacek in deep. He's shot knocked down. Amate behind the goal. Back to the point, Suter. Suter puts it down. Nichols takes a look. Nichols, his pass broken up by Newman, and Nichols has it again. A minute left in the power play. Chelios, a shot, and Chevelday reached out acrobatically to pull that one in.
Tim Chevelday with a good left hand came across, and again the Jets let Tim Chevelday see the puck. He's been able to see it on almost all the shots tonight. Chevelday with the sight line perfect, reaches out and grabs that one. Jets do a good job, keep the Hawks to the outside. Horacek can't get to the net. Chevelday reaches out, makes the save.
.57 seconds left in the penalty to Oleg Mikulchik. 4:57 left in the third period. The Jets 4, the Hawks 1. Zhamnov a couple of goals. Gillen and Domi one each. Amate on the power play, the lone goal for the Hawks. Craven is out with Krivakrazov and Sutter. It's almost needless to say, Chelios is on the ice. He's never off it. He gets it back now to Suter. Suter's shot. Chevelday rebound. And he'll wind up on top of it.
Murray Craven with one of the few rebounds that Tim Chevelday has not been able to direct by the Hawks. Screen shot comes through. Chevelday with the blocker save. Craven has a chance on the rebound, but Chevelday right there and hangs on.
Yellen and Craven again, this time to the right of Chevelday. Yellen wins it to the corner. Quintal gives it to Tkachuk. Tkachuk can't get it out. Here's Krivakrazov at the point. Gets it over to Suter. Suter works it in deep. Suter looks back to Krivakrazov, gives it to him, who gives it right back to Suter. Krivakrazov goes to the net. Suter takes a look, holds on to it. Now feeds Chelios. Chelios shot. Another penalty coming to the Jets. Here's Manson behind the net. And the Hawks will have a two-man advantage for 24 seconds. We'll get a look at that power play in just a moment.
This place makes their hamburgers from beef that's been frozen. We don't think they taste as good as hamburgers made with fresh beef. That's why at Wendy's we use only fresh beef. Take our old-fashioned quarter-pound single combo. We give you the best-tasting hamburger in the business, hot off the grill, an icy-cold medium soft drink, and the biggest order of fries you can get in a combo for just $3.99.
At Wendy's, you don't pay more. You just get more.
Yeast infections. Guys, now that you're squirming, let's see what else is on. Okay, girls, yeast infections. Up to 7 applicators in that gunky cream. Well, now, there's Gynacure. 1 pre-filled applicator, 1 night, and you're done. No mess, and now, no prescription. 7 versus 1. Now, that's something to get excited about.
Gynacure. Once and for all.
Well, maybe not that excited.
Here's Suter at the point. The Hawks with a 2-man advantage. 2 players in front. Suter moves it. He lets it go. Shoveled in the save. Now Suter with it again. Suter looks in front. Back now to Nichols. Nichols to Suter to Nichols. Nichols gets it over. Here's Chelios. Winds up. He lets it go. And again, Chevrolet is there. A wall on top of the crease.
Chris Chelios with that shot shaking his head. He had all sorts of time. Fake pass, and then just drilled it. Tim Shovelday didn't bite for the fake. Right in perfect position to make the save. Right-hand shot, left-hand side, fakes the pass, and then just tees it up. Shovelday, right by Murray Craven, makes the save.
Don't play around with high prices. Come to Canadian Tire, your sports headquarters.
Here's Suter with it. Mikulchuk out of the box. The long shot. Shoveled in the save, and Tkachuk lugs it away to center ice. Here's Tkachuk against Chelios. Moves to the outside. Can't get a good shot away as Chelios did a number on him, and now Nichols comes back. 1:20 left in the penalty to Gillen. The Hawks a 1-man advantage. Nichols to Craven. Craven shot. Went wide. With it is Suter. To Chelios. He's checked. Here's Emerson looking for Tkachuk. And he wasn't ready for the pass. It goes all the way down, and Chelios has it. 4-1, the Jets lead. 3.5 left. Hawks with a man advantage. Here's Manson with it. Can't clear. Amade moving in deep. Takes it behind. Amade back to the point. Weinrich. Weinrich shot blocked by Eagles. It goes to Emerson, and he dumps it the distance. 43 seconds left in Gillen's penalty. Just over 3 minutes left. 4-1 Jets. Here's Chance. Gets over the line. Dropped it. Dubinsky in front. And it went wide. Now Graham against Shevnov. It goes to Quintal. Chance and Quintal battle for it. Dubinsky. Back to the point it goes. Smith shot. Off a leg and wide. Eagles trying to get it out. He does to center. Shevnov over 2 lines. Once again, the winning program numbers in tonight's Winnipeg Jets Special Edition lineup program giveaway. If you have the winning number, take your program to the Jets office during business hours. The Special Edition lineup brought to you by the Winnipeg Jets, the Winnipeg Sun, and CKND Winnipeg TV.
Jets penalty killers have done a great job. Mike Eagles used primarily in a penalty killing role. He has done his job tonight, and Terry Simpson looks on his team, a much more disciplined team. Played very well in their own zone tonight, something they haven't been doing very well in the last 3 weeks.
Jets have had good efforts from that line. We talked about Gillen, Domi, and King, and also from Shevnov, Korolev, Drake. Still looking for some improvement from Tkachuk and Solani in particular.
How about their defense? Stefan Kittel, Dave Manson, Daryl Shannon. They've all played well tonight. Picking the stars a little bit of a problem for me tonight, Kurt.
Tim Chevelday's look sharp. Here's Weinrich. Dumps it into the Jets on Chevelday. To Shannon. To Emerson. Emerson moves up the right side. Gets to center. Stopped there by Smith. Now it's dumped in. Emerson trying to fish it out. Goes to the outside. Went around. Tkachuk grabs it. Here's Tkachuk. Looks back for Emerson. Emerson puts it in front. And now the Hawks. Sutter takes his time. Just under 2 minutes left. 4-1. The Jets lead. And with it is Randy Gillen. His pass to Solani. Gets to the Hawk line. Looks for help. Dumps it in deep for Gillen. He puts it behind. In with it is Suter. Approached by King. Suter starts away. Swings by Solani. Suter to the line, trying to penetrate. Dropped it to Murphy. Centers. Newman had knocked it out. And Chelios has it. 1:25 left. Now the Hawks, Murphy over the Jet line. It's taken by Newman. Not out. Poulin keeps it in. Solani has it. Puts it up the middle. Chelios dumps it in. Back for it goes Newman. Newman with 1:03 left. 4-1 Jets. Dumps it all the way down. And back to get it is Nichols. So the Jets about to end that 10-game winless streak. Here's Nichols. Gains the line. Lets it go over top. And with it is Domi. Domi flips it high. King after it at center ice. Here's King over the line with Shemnow. King lets it go. And the save by Belford. Nichols with it. 35 seconds left. Nichols pass. Stopped by Shemnow. To Domi. To Korolev. Now Craven with it. The Hawks dumping out to center ice all the way down. Back for it goes Korolev. Korolev behind his goal. 18 seconds left. Puts it outside. Weinrich with it there. It goes to Craven, dumped in. With it is Gerald Shannon. He flipped it out over center. Weinrich to Shans. Over the line. One last shot. Shoveled in the save. And it's over.
Winnipeg Jets come out to congratulate Tim Shovelday.
Not a much more spirited effort by the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Maybe there is something to an adrenaline rush when there's a change made.
And you look at the Terry Simpson started the Gillen, Domi, King line, and they set the pace right from the opening shift. They forechecked well. They took the body. They started every period. They set the tone for every period. And that line, as a line, could be picked as first star because they played just a whale of a game for Terry Simpson. Now the problem for the Jets is, can they keep it going? Can they show some consistency? And that's something they haven't been able to do all year long.
Well, they won't have a whole lot of time to gloat because they're right back at it. Coming up on Friday at home against the Vancouver Canucks. So the final, the Jets 4, the Hawks 1. In a moment, the Molson 3-star selection.
I know Elaine, but this one's a keeper. He's handsome, well-built, and reliable. He's fun to go places with, and he always makes me feel very comfortable wherever we are. I met him at a sale. What do you mean, is he loaded? Elaine? Of course he is. You know me. I know what I want. I think maybe she should meet you.
Toyota Camry. Loads to love. Now get 4.9% financing on selected vehicles during Red Tag Days at your Toyota dealer.
Grandview was started in the late 1800s by the Cookson family, one of the first early pioneering families. Our level of service that we provide, the people that we employ, are our greatest strength. We've stuck with the Advantage program because we've received maximum discounts. Our Advantage savings plans average 44 to 47%. I don't have to worry about whether our telephone system is working properly or whether we're receiving maximum discounts. I know we are.
I love your funny face. Doesn't that funny face deserve the best every day? Sheba, the finest ingredients mean unsurpassed nutrition and 30% less fat than a fancy feast every day. For worlds I'd not replace your sunny funny. Sheba, to say I love you every day.
Our Molson Cup 3 standings from tonight's action. Our third star, Tim Shovelday, who came up big, particularly in that third period when the Hawks made their way into the Jet zone. Second star, Alexei Zhamnov, continues to roll. He's got 2 goals on the evening and 24 on the season. Our first star this evening, Randy Gillen, getting his first goal of the season, adding an assist. And a look at the Molson Cup 3 standings at this point. Alexei Zhamnov leads Teemu Solani and Darren Shannon. once again, our final score this evening from the Winnipeg Arena. The Jets' 10-game winless skid is over, and they have won one at home. And we are just standing here at the Jets bench, which was pretty excited a couple of minutes ago as they were able to finally break the winless skid, and we are just about ready to get Terry Simpson. I feel like I'm waiting for a movie star here and waiting for an interview. Here comes Terry Simpson, who was a star himself behind the bench this evening. We'll try and avoid the noise. Terry, what a 24 hours. Last night named head coach, tonight first game and first win.
Yeah, well, there's a lot happened today, but I really thought the guys responded with a great effort tonight. That was a team effort. Everybody played real well. I thought, they obviously were pretty focused considering what went on, and I think this was one for John.
One thing that was very noticeable, the team was very physical, but no bad penalties.
Yeah, I thought the composure was real good. We executed pretty well. Chicago's a good hockey club, and they force all the time. I thought Chevy made some good saves. Our defense was real good, I thought, tonight, and we got guys, got goals from Ty and Gilly, and of course, if that's the kind of effort we get every night, we'll be real happy with that.
And how did it feel to be the man running the show again? Must have been pretty exciting.
Well, it's a tough day, the circumstances, I said earlier that, it's disappointing that John had decided that he had to step away for right now, but on the other hand, I thought that, it is nice, I guess, but it's, I thought, like I said this morning, players win hockey games, and I thought tonight the guys really come out and won the game.
Well, thanks, Terry. One down, only 14 to go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Terry Simpson and the Jets come up big this evening at the Winnipeg Arena. Ty Domi gets one, Randy Gillen gets one, and the Jets get one. A victory right here at the arena.
Whether you're...
Our final score this evening at the Winnipeg Arena, Winnipeg 4, the Chicago Blackhawks 1. A big 2 points for the Jets upstairs, and let's check in with Kurt and John.
It's certainly not the Stanley Cup, but it's a huge victory where the Winnipeg Jets are concerned after a long drought.
It really is, and I always like a coach that comes out and says, the players win the game. It's not my system. It's not, oh, well, we played my system, and the guys did this on the power play, and it was our system. Terry Simpson, the players win the game, and the players played a very solid game. The coaches can help, they can give them direction, and I think that's what the Jets needed, more focus, and they got it tonight.
What about the Hawks now, winless in 5?
The Hawks are struggling. Their best players, Jeremy Roenick's out for the rest of the year, and Chelios and Suter, they look tired. The short season, you play every other night, they play 40 minutes a game, they look tired tonight.
So the Jets beat the Hawks 4-1, and up next, our Canadian Tire scoreboard.
Tire, the Hartford Whalers with an upset right in Pittsburgh as they were able to double up on the Penguins, who had won 5 of their last 6. The New Jersey Devils' longest unbeaten streak of the season is stretched to 6 this evening. Montreal had beaten Quebec by a goal earlier in the season. They do it again tonight. Pierre Turgeon with 3 points. The New York Rangers get their second win in the last 10 games. Alexei Kovalov leads the way. Elsewhere, Toronto, for a second straight time, is defeated by the St. Louis Blues. Edmonton taking on Anaheim. No score in this one. Detroit also on the coast, and they are tied at 1 into the second period. Our score this evening, the winless streak is over. Winnipeg wins it over Chicago 4-1. You are now up to date around the NHL, courtesy of Canadian Tire. And now joining me in studio is Kerry Wilson, maybe the most complete game of the season for the Jets this season.
I think it definitely was, Gene. I think they came out tonight, played a very solid game right through the ranks. Tim Shovelday played excellent in goal. Very strong defensive play tonight. Everybody was pitching in, and then you got some real unlikely heroes tonight on forwards, too. Randy Gillen, a superb game. King and Domi helping out there, and then Jamnov, of course, continues to play a strong game.
It was very emotional tonight. Can they carry it over to Friday night when they take on Vancouver?
Well, I think they're going to have to. There's no question right now. They've got momentum on their side. They've got a new, fresh attitude. They've got to take